for good. If you love what we do, you can also support us on Patreon, and there are plenty of perks to enjoy as a thank you from us to you for the support. With 23 first-party studios, we think there's never been a better time to be on Xbox than there is today. So if you want to join a welcoming and growing Xbox community, stick around and head to XboxEra.com. You won't regret it. Welcome to a new era for Xbox. Welcome to XboxEra.
We live in a cynical world. A cynical world. And we work in a business of tough competitors. I love you. You complete me. And I just had...
Shut up. Just shut up. You had me at hello. You had me at hello.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 69 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend and colleague, Shpeshal Nick. And again, because we couldn't not have him on one more time, it's OneBadMutha. How you doing, OneBadMutha? It's definitely good evening still, just. But hey, we're in a pretty good mood. We're feeling pretty fired up tonight. Apart from, we're not.
Yeah, we're muted.
I'm making so many technical mistakes tonight.
Oh man, this is my audio is inaudible.
No, it's fine. Their audio's fine. This is all on me tonight. Do you know why this is? I'm going to be honest with everybody in the audience. Right, the reason that this is terrible is my wife's watching for the first time ever this evening. So that's why. And now I have people telling me I'm too loud in the chat. You know, like, there you go. I'll try and.
Well, at least the audio version will be okay. We'll all be we'll all be okay on the audio version.
Should we end the stream and start again? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Can we be heard now? Like, can the chat tell us if we can be heard now?
Yeah, it's all my fault. I knew exactly where. As soon as someone said we can't hear Shpeshal Nick, do you want to say what's going on again?
Yeah, Leon. I just saw Leon in the chat saying we didn't hear Nick's intro. So,
oh man,
does that mean that they want me to go again? Is that right, Leon?
Yeah. Do you want us? Should we just? We can trim this all out. So, do you want us to just start the intro again, and we'll pretend that none of this ever happened? What do you reckon, chat? Like,
well, I mean, it's a live episode, so you can't.
I can after
we have 69 watching right now. Nice.
And it's episode 69.
Episode 69. We need to leave it on 69 viewers for episode 69.
Or 6,969 would also be acceptable.
Yeah, so people didn't hear it, so I guess I can go again. What's going on?
There we go.
That wasn't any better the second time.
It's great every time, honestly. 69 episodes, and probably only half of those have had that intro, but you know, because it fell off a little while, and then it's back with a vengeance. I love it. Anyway, right, glad we got all the audio issues out in the first 5 minutes of the podcast. Welcome, everybody. We're back once again. Jesse in the chat, sick is a bit low.
Sick is a bit low.
Oh, boy. I'm not playing. I'm not going to buy it. Anyway, as always, before we get into the news of the week, and admittedly there isn't much, but we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been playing. And I guess we'll probably start with, because I know for a fact that after we did a lot of work the other day, you've actually took some time out to play some games, correct?
Yeah, I did. I was able to get to some games over the last day, and found myself bouncing back and forth between Death's Door and the Ascent. So I think I'm about 10 hours into the set now, and that thing's kind of grabbed hold of me. So I would say it's probably 90% the Ascent, going back to Death's Door right now. But that game is super addictive. as long as everything, there's times where it glitches and then I have to turn it off and bounce back, but it keeps calling me back.
Thank God you said addictive.
So. Yeah, I think it's
Thank
the most
God you said addictive. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
No, I don't.
You know how people say addicting?
Oh God,
and
yes.
It grinds my gears when I hear people say addicting.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, so to hear you say addictive was satisfying. It was good.
Do you know the other type of person that grinds my gears? While we're on the subject of gear grinding, when you type, if you're one of those people that types loose, when you mean
instead of lose, or his instead of he's, instead of he apostrophe s, they say his. It's like
we've got to try and stay on topic tonight. So it's a live show.
Okay, yeah, sorry, keep going. I was just happy to hear you say addictive as opposed to addicting.
But I'm glad I could make you happy there, Nick.
Yeah, you got to tick his boxes. So the Ascent was one, and Death's Door. You've been.
Yeah, Death's Door. Both of those are great games. I was actually playing some of Death's Door before the Ascent, but just something just clicked with the Ascent, and I got that one. I don't know how far either of you guys got in it, but I got that one weapon at the back of the truck, the thing that just destroys everything. Yeah. So at that point, it's just too much fun. So that's where I've been playing most of the last couple days. But the Death's Door is also extremely impressive. That one keeps surprising me.
It's a huge double whammy for Microsoft, right? And Game Pass. Well, not Game Pass. I keep forgetting Death's Door's not on Game Pass, but it's only 15 quid, so you should probably go and play it because it is one of the best indie games so far of the year.
It is.
But what is an exclusive currently console wise? And I'm actually pleased to say I've completed the Ascent. And I started off very, very high score, almost agreeing with Jesse. This is really good considering it was such a small team. Now I know that Jesse obviously went through the review hoops and was fortunate enough to have, after the day one patch, no glitches. And from a review perspective, you kind of go, right, okay, yeah, there were issues. Now I'm not experiencing them, and you adjust accordingly. Obviously, we're not adverse to the fact that opinion is out there that there is still a huge number of glitches. And when I tried to play in co-op, I accidentally deleted my character, as I revealed last week. And I had a number of glitches, sound glitches, desync, so I can't press X anymore, which really breaks everything. But playing through single player, got through it without any of those issues. I really, really enjoyed it. I actually went back in today to try and clean up a few more achievements and side quests. What a world that they made. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is. And I think that the thing that's so interesting about a game like that, that would be a really hard one to score because, when you kind of look at some of the design opportunities, I can see what people are saying there. But at the same time, there's nothing else. Like if I wanted to go say, I want to go play something else like this, there really is nothing else like that, that does that twin stick with the RPG.
For sure.
That does the cover mechanics, all that stuff in there. So it's a really unique game, and visually, it's one of the most fun to look at. And and honestly, it's probably the most fun when it's working right. It's probably the most fun I've had this year. Gaming.
Yeah.
Which
there is nothing that beats the Room Sweeper upgraded to Mark 10, and just it literally does what it says on the tin. It clears the room. I absolutely love using it. It's so addictive. But yeah, phenomenal game. What about you, Nick? Anything beyond the classics and a bit of the Ascent? Have you dived into anything else?
Yeah, there's been the Ascent. There's a super chat from Somnia here. Look at Nick wearing a T-shirt for the best gaming franchise of all time.
Nice.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda.
I mean, it's not Halo.
I have been playing Skyward Sword because I'm jumping around between a few games. The Ascent, I haven't got as far as everyone else seems to have. I've just got like a regular SMG that seems to be plowing through everyone pretty okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't got too far into it because I keep doing side quests, I think.
It's a good idea because there are some crazy difficulty spikes when you're playing on your own and you suddenly get to the point where you're like easy.
I've discovered that.
And then you just get stomped. You're like, how is this possible at this level?
Yeah. I also, despite being in lockdown 6 here in Melbourne has a lot in common with Michael Jordan now. I attended a concert despite being in lockdown. The Ariana Grande concert in Fortnite. We got up yesterday at like 7:30 with the kids, and their cousin was on, and we jumped into the Ariana Grande concert in Fortnite, which, you know what? Epic have done a really good job with these live events that they do.
Yeah.
It was actually a good concert. You know, I took a whole bunch of screenshots, posted them on Twitter. Like, it's just, it's like when I first thought, oh, Ariana Grande concert, you'll just stand there with your character and she's in the middle singing, but it's not. It's like this event thing, and you fly around behind her and her songs are playing, and you go on these different worlds and levels and you jump around. Like, there's no guns, there's no weapons. It's just your character, and it's like a trippy journey. What's that Disney? What's that trippy
Fantasia?
Disney cartoon? Fantasia.
Fantasia.
I was about to say Fantavision, but that's the PlayStation 2 game. Fantasia. Yeah, kind of like that in Fortnite. It's actually quite cool, and they're doing like 5 sessions. I think there's one that happens later today. But yeah, and of course I had to buy them each the Ariana Grande skin. Oh, well, I bought it for my daughter because she loves Ariana Grande, and then my son saw it and he's like, "Can I have Ariana Grande?" I'm like, "You want Ariana Grande?" He's like, "Yeah, I want Ariana Grande as well." So I'm like, "Fine." So yeah, $60 later, and I had bought them both Ariana Grande skins for Fortnite.
Jesus.
Man. And what else? No, I think that's about it game wise.
I get subjected sometimes to some Ariana Grande because my wife doesn't ever put like her Spotify playlists on or anything. It's just Radio 1 in the UK. And then, you know, it's often played. There's a couple of songs I will admit, they have that little hook, and you're like, you can't help but enjoy it. But oh man, I wouldn't pay serious money. Like, but hey, if it's to make your kids happy, who am I to judge? Right?
Oh man, oh, they were very happy. My daughter especially was very excited. Also, you're apparently still low, John.
No, I'm ignoring them. I've been adjusting, reading the chat. Speaking of the chat, we have another super chat here from. Now, Joaquin, I'm going to presume.
Yeah, we'll go Joaquin Branch.
What small teams do you gents think have the most potential and should be on Xbox's radar? Thanks for all you guys do. It's a great question, right? Because I think that is the prevalent theme for what we've seen out of the recent slew of indies is small teams somehow making these games that make everybody stand up and pay attention. The Ascent was one. Yes, it kind of fell over a little couple of hurdles out of the gate with some of the glitches that people reported. Bizarre review from Metro. But, Death's Door, two people, and they've made a game that was grabbing 9s and 10s like it was going out of fashion. And, that says to me that, much like I think Mother has mentioned many times, it's weird calling you Mother. I'm trying to think like OBM, OneBad.
You just call me Abe.
I'm just going to go with Abe.
That's fine.
You've said a lot that a lot of the technology as the tools that the developers get to build this stuff with improve, you're going to see these small teams suddenly pump out things that are up there on that level. And I think we've seen some really inarguable evidence to that in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Did either of you play Back 4 Blood?
I haven't yet. I've got it ready, but I've just been too busy. I want to talk.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Abe, do you think there's any teams off the top of your head that come to mind that Microsoft should be looking at that are small like that, little indie teams?
It's funny. We were talking about that on Xbox Live. A bunch of us, I think it was, Mike was there, and we were talking about some of the upcoming indies, and it doesn't look like Microsoft's really trying to move it beyond what they already have with their idea at Xbox and what they're doing with Game Pass as a way to sort of work with them. But I thought it would be something to look at in terms of doing what Devolver Digital does, like having a division that actually tries to publish those types of games. I look at something like The Ascent, and it's like, yeah, it has some glitches and things like that, but think about that. Think about like the next iteration of what that could be. And there's a bunch of these. I guess we'll probably get into talking about some of this later, but there's a lot of those types of developers out there, a lot of them that people haven't even heard of yet. And you're going to start seeing a lot of developers led by artists and writers and musicians that now they don't need to be super programmers, and I think it's, you know, capitalizing on that and just giving them more backing so that, you know, maybe the next time they don't put out, like, they can still have that scope without, you know, all the bugs, for example. Would be, you know, that would be something that could elevate it. I look at the Ascent as something that has that foundation. Like, I understand people's complaints, but I look at the foundation and it's something that could be
I want to see an Ascent
regular.
too,
I absolutely want to see another one. You know, you just see the pieces are there to be something really, really big, much bigger than what it is. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of an interesting question. I don't think they're really. I think Microsoft's division's probably more or less just looking for ways to highlight them through Game Pass, through their shows, and just continue those relationships. I don't think they're trying to buy any of them, or you know, try to own any of these IPs right now. I think they're just cultivating these, and so I don't know that there's one or two that they're going to, you know, focus on.
Yeah. I mean, look, I realize it's out of order, but I figured we'd bring it up. Right. Speaking of small developers being acquired, Nick, one of your favorite games of all time, the developers of the new Streets of Rage 4 and the recent expansion, right?
Well, the publisher.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
.emu is a .mu is a publisher. Like Lizard Cube is the developer of Streets of Rage, Wonder Boy Remake, Wonder Boy 3, Dragon's Trap. But .emu are the ones that publish, like they're publishing the new TMNT.
Yep.
They're big into the retro stuff coming back. And they were bought by Focus.
Yeah.
Hashtag acquisition season continues.
I'm sure there'll be questions about acquisition season later on. I think the community questions from the patrons might mention a few bits and pieces. But speaking of much larger dev teams than these little indie ones, Deathloop from Arcane Leon and Psychonauts from Double Fine have both gone gold in recent couple of weeks or week. I'll talk about Deathloop first. Do you know what? I saw the tweet, and it got like, when I looked at it, and I think it was several hours old, and it was like 650 likes. Man, like, what's... Is it because it's a Microsoft owned studio, so no one on the PlayStation camp is getting behind it, or what? Like,
probably.
Is it
That's
really
probably
that...
something like that.
Wow.
I think it's multifaceted, actually. I mean, because if you look at it, even Returnal didn't do that good, and I think right now, last year we saw like an unnatural spike because of COVID. I think right now you're getting a little bit of a rebound. It's bad timing for a lot of things to come out right now. I just think people are like, this is the end of the summer. They're not as engaged with, you know, gaming. We saw, like, even with Sony's, like, their update, they said their subscriptions went down. It's like, how do you lose subscriptions? That doesn't happen. And I think that it's just, I think right now there's just not as much engagement. It's the summertime. I do think that there's probably multifacets, and then, you know, like, people know that, hey, this is now a Microsoft franchise. I'm not going to invest in it, so that's going to, like, compound that as well. And Arcane, unfortunately, has never got the credit that they deserve as a studio.
Not at all.
It must be so morally depressing, like, demoralizing. That's the word I'm looking for. It's like demoralizing, depressing, but demoralizing to sort of like put your hearts and souls into it, and then you're kind of this is all down to marketing, and someone's bought your development dollar. You know, a deal has been made from on high, and this is the way the cookie crumbles, guys. Sorry, suck it up. Whereas the real people that would get behind the game, hopefully, because of Game Pass, won't be able to until September 2022. It's a shame, but it is what it is. I will probably play it on PC.
We'll wait for Game Pass.
Yeah, we're absolutely waiting for
every gamer on Xbox. Is it coming to Game Pass? That's why I hope people go out and buy things like Death's Door, though, because not every game is going to come to Game Pass, right? For some developers, it's just not the way they want to go. And if I mean, it might do eventually, but certainly not at launch. So go support those guys. I know Microsoft will pay them when it does come, or if it does come to Game Pass. But if you like a game, go support it.
Give it to them instead of Activision.
Yeah, for sure. Psychonauts is man, it seems to be getting a lot of hype. We saw the previews got out. No, we didn't get to preview it, and we were a bit sad. And Microsoft were a bit apologetic, but it is what it is. But man, it's looking more and more fantastic every time I see it. I can't wait to play it. It looks really crisp. Every screenshot, the auto HDR, the way the lighting and their art design has kind of come together. Looking forward to it.
It's looking really nice.
And that's the end of this month.
25th.
Yeah.
25th?
25th.
Yeah.
So it's good.
And hopefully Tim Schafer finally gets his recognition. He's the other one outside of Arcane. Like, it's funny that those two both those studios are launching games this month, because I feel like both of those studios are two of the most underrated studios by the mainstream and all of gaming. And seeing Tim Schafer, he's been one of my favorites since I played Grim Fandango on the PC back when that launched. I used to be point and click. Yes. Yep. He did that too.
See, I liked Full Throttle on PC when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you guys? Someone, I think it was someone on our forums. They talked about, and this might be going back a bit for you guys, but I'm sure you'll both remember, as I'm the youngest person on the podcast today. Thank you. Someone mentioned to me the pirate wheel. It was like a card wheel that you got to unlock the code to load Monkey Island. It came with the Amiga version of the game. I don't know if it came with others. And there were copies of it you could get online if you'd got a hooky copy or you'd lost your original, to make out of like paper and like so you could unlock the game. And it like brought all these memories flooding back to me of Monkey Island and all of those kind of classics. And point and clicks were a huge part of my sort of youth. So I do hope Tim Schafer's, his imagination and his kind of crazy writing can come back to the fore and get a lot of appreciation later on this month.
And remember those text input games too, like Space Quest and Police Quest. Man.
Classics.
Yeah.
I used to love those. I used to love those. They were so good.
We've aged ourselves.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of super chats. Sir, I'm making sure I've got the first one. Yeah, Sir Monte Carlo. Faked it in 120. James Cameron, 60 Shades, New York Times bestseller. True or not? 100%. Great show voice. These are all in jokes to do with Rocket League, aren't they, Nick? Yeah, okay. That's fine. I think we've lost Nick now for a little while.
Oh, God, that's so funny.
Do you want to explain any of them for anybody
Absolutely
watching?
No one gets it. It's. I think I've said it before. Like, I started playing Rocket League with these two guys. Actually, Sir Monte Carlo is also good friends with Gaz from Game On Daily as well. And because all of us play with 120 hertz screens, that's why it's faked in 120. So we play Rocket League, you fake it in 120.
Fair enough.
The James Cameron, the 60 Shades of New York, that's a reference to reading, like reading the ball, reading the play.
Yeah.
So if you read it well, I read him like a New York Times bestseller, or 3 pages ahead in the script. It's just, oh God. But when we play, I have the biggest laugh. It's so funny. But absolutely no one's going to get that. You have to it's one of those you have to be there kind of things.
Yeah, that's game. It's funny. Here's an amusing side anecdote, because 60 Shades rang a bell for me, right? So we recently replaced all of our Google Homes with Alexas, right? Because the sound quality, in our opinion, is just a bit better. I do miss being able to ask Google actual internet questions and get answers. Alexa's not as good at that, but whatevs. We're in bed, and we often joke around and talk to Alexa when we can't sleep, right? So we do stupid things like tell us a joke or something like that. And my wife was laying there last night, and she went, Alexa, tell me a joke. And Alexa came back and went, I think you just whispered to me. I'll turn on whisper mode. And I was like, whisper mode? That's cool. And then we were doing silly things like asking it really long questions, and it would whisper back to us. And then she asked it to read her a story. And it's linked to my Amazon account, right? Now, it took me a while to piece this together because at first I looked a bit suspect. It started reading a novel from the 50 Shades of Grey author about some sort of like guy who's hiring escort girls. I can't remember what it was called. And she's looking at me like, what is this? And why is it on your Amazon account? Because it went, I'm reading this from John's Amazon account. And I'm like, oh God, like, what is this? Like, I'm coming across like some sort of super perv right now. And then we figured out that actually I bought my wife her Kindle and she had some books from Lee James on there, and that's how it read them. But I thought you'd all be amused to hear that hilarious tale. 60 Shades just rang a bell for me there. Look, those movies that are sort of based on those stories, like they're doing gangbusters on Netflix. Like, man, there's like heaps of movies on Netflix that are about that sort of stuff. It's a bit
full on.
It is a bit full on. Let's face it, women that read those books, I don't know any guys that do, but the women that have read them, you're reading soft porn, and it's fine. I'm not judging you.
It's okay.
Super chat, we have the unnamed.
It's like Rachel and her story.
Oh God!
About
stop bringing Friends references into this podcast.
Yeah,
you'll get our viewership turning off.
What's the name of it? What's the name of the
Mount Thibodeau?
Oh no! What's the name? Rachel's got that book, and Joey finds it, and he says, "You've got porn." Zelda. Oh, it's Zelda. I think it's Zelda, isn't it?
That's the real reason you're wearing that T-shirt, right?
Yeah. The Vicar. That's right. It's the story about the Vicar. Oh, God. That was a good episode.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Let's get some super chats out of the way. The Unnamed Games podcast. The world has gone mad. The only confirmed major exclusive PS5 game this year is being published by Xbox Game Studios. Are we in the upside down? It could be. It is funny how it's all shaken out, really. It is kind of odd. It's really weird seeing Bethesda, owned by Microsoft, promoting Deathloop, but not Xbox.
Yeah, I know.
It's strange on Twitter. It is really.
And don't forget the biggest.
Should have cancelled it.
Don't forget the biggest Game Pass game of the year was MLB The Show. So we're absolutely.
We're in the upside down, people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those contracts.
And look at that. Mrs. Mechanico has rocked up in the chat. Thank you all. Big red heart. You all make me happy. Also, whisper mode is the best. There you go.
Where's this?
It's there. It's there. Bless. I can see people reacting to Mrs. Mechanico in the chat. So that's always amusing. We did talk about the Ascent a bit, but the other thing that they announced was that they'd sold a lot of copies. And obviously then the arguments came about, everyone bought it on Steam. No one's buying it on Xbox. I don't think that was actually true. I think plenty of people bought it on Xbox because people like to buy their games. You have the choice to do so. But big congrats to those devs. I just wanted to mention that one because that's a pretty decent showing as well. 5 million straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
What have we got else? Idea Xbox. They've got their next Twitch show coming up. Now, I've seen some divided opinions on the last Twitch show they did, but I think overall, I know it was a bit lengthy. They did a good job, right? We saw lots and lots of really great games. I'm kind of now intrigued. Are we going to see more of the same games that haven't launched yet, or have they got a whole new slate for us to kind of pick the bones of? What do you think, Abe?
I think we should definitely keep an eye on it. I think, we've been talking about this for a while, but and when I was even on Boom Show a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the indie developer, and as we mentioned earlier, we're going to start to see some surprises. I think there's going to start to be things that are going to pop up that are going to be from these indies, and we're going to go like, that's an indie, in terms of what to expect at this show versus the last, I think the problem was the presentation. They had good content. They just really stretched it out with the influencers took way too long. So hopefully they took
hours.
Hopefully they took the feedback and they make it a lot more digestible for the average person, because I think, they're going to want to start making these things more digestible for not just the super enthusiast, that like the artsy games, but I think they're going to start to get a lot more mainstream traction as time goes on because of these tools. And I just had that interview with Joe from Song of Iron, and we were talking about what he was doing with his game, and he's a one-man team, and anybody who's seen that, it looks pretty spectacular, visually.
It really does.
It does, yeah. And it was interesting because when I was talking to him, he said, "Hey, I'm an artist. Like he came from 343 as an artist, and he said he would never have been able to. He's not like this technical." This coding genius, like when he's doing all this, it's really his art coming through, and it's the tools that are really helping him put that on the screen. And so at some point, I don't know if it's going to be at this show or if we're going to wait another show, or they're going to save some of the big ones for let's say their inside Xbox or something else down the road. We're going to start to see independent developers making games that are visually going to grab the attention of people that normally wouldn't pay attention to that segment of developers. They're going to start looking AAA, and it's good because not we're talking about that's a one-man team. What about the 10-man teams or even the 20-man teams? We see that with Stalker 2, and that's a bigger independent, but that is a massive game that looks absolutely AAA in every way. So, so definitely, I think that this. I keep saying it. Independent developers are going to be the story of this generation, and any chance we get to kind of see what potentially new games are coming from them, there's going to be some things that are going to jump out there that are just going to wow us. I'm expecting that. Yeah. So we'll see.
I think that's one of the reasons the Ascent got so much love and attention, right? Because it looked way beyond what you would normally consider for an indie. But yeah, go on, Nick. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I was going to say, I kind of hope we see Bright Memory Infinite again. Speaking of small teams, that's like one dude who's making that first-person shooter that looks unreal. Like he's just cranked up all the fancy effects to 11. Because we haven't seen anything from that for a while, have we?
Well, he does post occasional, because it's FYQD, I think is what he calls the dev team.
Something
himself.
Like that.
I think he's posted a couple of trailers and some bits and pieces over the last few months on Twitter, but it doesn't make a huge splash because it's an indie game. Did you play the kind of prelude Bright Memory?
Bright Memory?
Yeah.
No. It's like $6. I probably should just grab it.
Honestly, it probably overstays its welcome a little bit, and there's lots of interesting ideas. It does feel a bit mushed together, so I do hope with Infinite that he's taking his time to actually make sure the core of the game is completely solid. But for $6 Australian, it's almost worth just taking a stab at it, right? Because it is very different to what you would normally expect out of what you've just called it an FPS. It's kind of not, and yes, it is. It's odd. It's very different. Intrigued
I was funny.
I was going to add to that, Nick. I think he's actually got a team now. I think
that. Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, I think for a lot of these indies, and that's kind of the other part of the story. A lot of times they put out these slices, this kind of presentation, and if it gets attention, they'll get some funding, and they might get a little team to back them up. So I think he's got some people to help him make it bigger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it's funny if that makes this year, they'll have Bright Memory Infinite and then Halo Infinite all in that same quarter. People are going to think it's some intentional naming scheme.
Oh, well, haven't we got Assassin's Creed Infinite as well? Like some point down the line in 2023, Infinite. They just stick Odyssey Infinite, Aardvark. I don't know. They're just going to stick words onto the end of games.
Infinite use of Infinite. Yep.
Yeah, I actually saw someone on Twitter. It was obviously a fanboy account, but comparing a screenshot from Bright Memory Infinite against a screenshot from the Halo technical test, and it was like, how does this look better? And it's like, okay, whatever. It's bizarre. People are weird. Speaking of Song of Iron, oh god, What do you
I
want to
thought
do?
we had the break anyway.
Go on then. Go on then.
Alexander Dark 91. Hi guys, love the show. Do you think there will be any more big surprise Game Pass drops like Outriders the rest of this year? Maybe.
Well,
I mean, Back for Blood was kind of it. Even though a lot of people were probably expecting it. But yeah, I'm sure they're working on some more.
The question I would ask is what from third party is coming this year that could drop on Game Pass beyond Back for Blood? And if you're struggling to think of anything, then I would actually say for this year, the plans are probably laid out. You'll see some indies for sure, but unless something
that's been announced already and it wasn't announced as coming to Game Pass, maybe they're working on a deal behind the scenes to get it on Game Pass. That could also happen potentially.
Yeah. I'm struggling to think of a game that would be considered a big moment from a third party perspective at the moment that's definitely coming this year outside of Battlefield, which from all we've seen.
Is Far Cry this year?
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it'll be Game Pass. But hey, we could be surprised. They've surprised us before.
I don't know. Back for Blood was probably the one.
Yeah. Just mentioning Song of Iron, I don't know if you guys saw, I think it was announced on Twitter very late last night or early this morning. It's getting a short film made based in its game world, by a filmmaker of some description. Stephen, can't remember his surname, so I apologise in advance, but I'll retweet it out and poke people at it. But, I think Joe was incredibly happy to see that as well. What a great little moment for a guy making a game on his own for 4 years or however long it's taken him to suddenly have a filmmaker say, "Hey, can I make a little film out of your game?" Pretty cool. Got a couple of other super chats come in. 99 Rukin. Would Rebellion development be considered double A or triple A? And are they on the table to be acquired by someone?
Probably double A.
Yeah. I don't know about acquisition wise.
Yeah, no. I don't know either.
Everybody's on the table these days.
I was about to say probably everyone's on the table for Microsoft, but yeah, I don't know.
Probably not by like when he's just saying to be acquired by somebody. You see like Embracer's buying up all these smaller developers.
Embracer's just buying everyone.
And I think right now they're all just gaming is a real safe investment, and I think we're just it is gonna be competition over those studios. But I don't feel like that's somebody that Microsoft would even at this point, bother with.
You know how many studios Embracer has?
60 plus, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
69. 69 studios.
Episode 69.
Oh man,
there's so many Bill and Ted things. We've also got Cerys in the chat. No trolls for shame. Lols Nick, you liar. You were saying Starfield this month. You am the worst, yet so very addicting.
So dumb.
And I also have it's not a super chat, but I have noticed my wife in the chat saying, do you think I'll ever get my husband back? Lots of people are telling her no. Sorry, honey. Man. I'm sorry. Anyway, so acquisitions, I think that was the next topic. We kind of covered it a little bit earlier in the show. I've seen some people, acquisition season. I think a lot of people presumed and assumed maybe that you 100% meant Microsoft, but it does appear that there are lots of acquisitions happening at the moment. Are Microsoft making any?
I don't know. They're working. I'm sure they are working on plenty. But it's we'll see what happens.
Look at the face.
I'm just saying, this stuff can take time, and stuff falls through, and things change. Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck, for sure. For sure. But yeah. So I'm trying to think now. We've gone through, I think, the majority of the week's news. I don't think we've missed anything particularly huge. Chat, feel free to keep us honest. But But there is one thing that I think we did want to come back and revisit, because Nick and I briefly touched on the Halo technical test last episode. However, we are or were conscious that Mr. Thomas Sala, as lovely as he is, he's perhaps not in the weeds with Halo as some of us are, and it felt a little bit wrong to have him sitting there silently just watching me and Nick duke it out, or rather me arguing Nick's terrible opinions. So as we have OneBadMutha with us, who's obviously the co-host of You Had Me at Halo, our Halo-focused podcast, we figured that it would be a very, very kind of good opportunity to have a good old natter from a podcast point of view about the tech test. Obviously, the You Had Me at Halo team have done that already in episode 25. It's available on YouTube now. Go and have a chat and listen to what the majority of that team have to say. But, you know, to start things off, I think we will throw the microphone over to Shpeshal Nick and just let him lay out his thoughts so that OBM and I
can fix them,
demolish them.
Well, for starters, that tech test was horrible because I can't believe that the fruit didn't explode properly.
Amazing.
Like, how 343 can allow their fruit destruction physics to be so lackluster is beyond me. But no, seriously. No, I liked it. I'm missing it already. I think because when we were on last week, it was like halfway through the 3 or 4 days. So I was kind of bemoaning the loss of thrusters. By the end of it, I wasn't missing it as much. By the end, I'd kind of gotten used to it not being there.
Yeah.
There's still a part of me that hopes it's the permanent equipment in SWAT because it makes sense for it to be. Like, because SWAT doesn't have equipment. Like, SWAT has never had... I think even in Halo 3, equipment wasn't in
No, it's just
SWAT.
It was just BRs and pistols, right? And that was
Yeah,
it.
SWAT is just raw...
Wasn't... correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the regen in Halo 3? That it meant you could take tank body shots? Because you can kill body shots in SWAT. It's just not as quick as a headshot, if memory says. I could be
No, it's
wrong.
not.
Someone keep me honest there, but I swear I've played
I don't
games with that. But yeah, it's...
But so I figure since thrusters aren't equipment in the same way all those others are, a part of me... Because otherwise you'd have a dead button, wouldn't you, as well? If you didn't have anything in SWAT, you'd basically have a dead button.
Yeah.
So it's like, why wouldn't you just make thrusters permanent as part of SWAT? Because it's all about getting around the map quickly, bang, 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 headshot, keep going, da-da-da-da-da. So if it's not there, it's fine, it's whatever. But no, by the end of what we played, I was not missing the lack of thrusters as much. But aside from that, it was good. I like all 3 maps. I think all 3 maps are really good. They're not very... They weren't overly Halo in feel or aesthetic. Like, none of them... they... Like Bazaar reminded me of a COD map that I play on in how it looked. And that outdoor map, I've already forgotten its name, was just... Yeah. The indoor one, that second one...
Recharge.
What's the name? Recharge. It starts with R. I knew it started with R. That one probably had that Halo look and feel, but the other 2 less so. But I'm sure there'll be a ton of maps at launch, but again, that's neither here nor there. The game feels great. Feels really, really good. Again, by the end of it, I had gotten used to everything. Yeah. So it's like, at first it felt a bit slow to me.
Really?
But yeah, it felt a bit, because again, the thrusters, I'm used to the thrusters in Halo 5. But again, by the end of it, I had kind of forgotten about it. I was completely used to how it felt, but I was doing a lot of...
Yeah.
What?
You'd acclimatized to how it felt.
Yeah.
And it felt normal again.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of just sprinting, slide, jump, this, that, the other, like to get around a little bit faster, learn the maps a bit better, take the shortcuts. So there's ways around it. Yeah. But overall, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. There you go. You know what? You had less bad takes this time. I think the extended play time,
Yeah, I was like I said, we were in the middle of it last time, so I was just still getting used to everything. But by the end of it, it was fine. And I got in because I think I remember Abe saying that he missed out on the PvP.
So did I.
Fell asleep.
Yeah.
I got to play the PvP.
Oh man,
Nice.
I fell asleep and I thought I was gonna get, I thought I was still gonna be able to make it, and it was just a few hours. So
I know.
I crashed. And you know what? The reason why I slept through it is because I was up so late playing it before, and I just didn't get enough sleep, and I probably passed out an hour before that thing went live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stuck in. I got quite a few games in. I gotta say, I'm actually kind of surprised at how well I did across the board. Like even against the bots, against other players, I was quite shocked. Like I did better than I do in Halo 5.
Yeah.
They're probably matchmaking you against bronzes. They knew what they were dealing with.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But
Yeah.
I was surprised at how well I was doing, especially given I was probably playing on US servers as an Australian,
Yeah.
which would mean I had to deal with way more lag than most. So hopefully that bodes well for when the real thing goes live, and hopefully I'm playing on Australian servers as opposed to US ones.
Yeah, because they will have Aussie servers live. I mean, I think that was the big turning point for Halo 5, right? Was they had Australian servers, and that made the game feel, because you guys had to deal with peer-to-peer all the way up past Reach, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh man, even Halo 4.
I
was
think so.
peer-to-peer. Oof. Yeah, I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It would have been a fun killer for me.
It has forced Aussies to get a lot better at these games to compensate for all that lag.
Oh right, okay. Is that why you're so good at Rocket League? Yeah, you've had to step
Correct.
up. Okay.
That's right. That's
I
why
mean-
I'm so good at everything.
I played I think a fair amount of Infinite during the technical test. I've come away from it with a kind of hyped up sense of hope and optimism, and I think it's been reflected back from the wider Halo community anyway. I liked so much that it's hard to point out what I didn't. The only real kind of egregious thing that it took me, a couple of matches, even if I've been playing all day, if I'd stopped for an hour and then went to get back in, the aiming had that issue that I think Halo 5 had for a little while, where that initial dead zone, initial movement on the stick was really weird, and it felt hard to aim. And it took me a little while to acclimatize to it and find my groove. That's one element I really hope that they kind of really get sorted out for launch. I am absolutely in love with the VK78 Commando. Like it's
such a good gun.
So satisfying to either patiently pop shots off from a distance, but when you're up close, to just hold the trigger down and control that recoil and just manage to get that, start at the body and head, and you just finish it in one. It feels they've nailed that gun.
It's a good gun.
Like I wonder, from a development perspective, how often they've toyed between DMR style, because I think someone on the forum said, "Oh, where's the DMR? Where's the carbine?" And I actually posted, I was like, "What makes you guys think that these guns are coming back?" Because we'll get to the article, the fantastic article that you wrote, and I had the pleasure to narrate earlier this week, Abe. But you were talking about the sandbox feeling a lot more. There was a lot less baggage, right? Halo 5 suffered from this. We're gonna have the battle rifle and the DMR and the light rifle and the carbine, and they're actually all kind of doing the same job at slightly different times, Whereas, at least initially, and granted, we haven't seen the full sandbox yet. I have no idea if the DMR and the carbine is coming back. But as a Halo fan, and as someone who knows Halo pretty well, I wouldn't be surprised to not see those guns return, because their roles are already fulfilled out there. Because when they built the Commando, I've got to imagine they toyed between single shot and that auto function, like for sure.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and then they've arrived here, it's a better DMR in my book. So
it kind of functions like a DMR, right? Like from a distance, it pretty much is a DMR. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it when it's zoomed in.
Yeah, I prefer
It's
using it
okay.
up close for sure.
Yeah, but when you're in that mid to close range, oh, so good. So good. Every opportunity, like I had started to learn exactly where it would spawn, and I was going for it like straight away. Any chance I got to get that commando, I went, Any chance I got to go commando.
Hey,
but
lunge,
that was...
Friends reference. Stop. Now,
commando.
On the maps front, I've seen a lot of people making the bizarre Call of Duty reference, and it's like, and I mean this in the kindest of ways, but did people forget Halo 2 and New Mombasa and the difference between rendering technology in 2004 versus now? Because it's basically a New Mombasa themed marketplace. And do you know what? I actually love that they've done that. It feels so fresh in a Halo game to not be playing on UNSC Industrial Complex 7 or, you know, or Covenant Ship Purple. Like all of them felt, and I'm not saying they're the best maps in the world, as someone who loves to create spaces in Forge for Halo players to play on, they were really solid. You could tell they had a lot of thought put into them. There's only one thing I would say, right? And if the developer of whoever made Live Fire, and I know a few of the map developers and the Forge team, particularly at 343, if you are watching this podcast, the bit where the commando rifle spawns on the bridge as you're going to main tower from the big grassy area on the left side of the map, if you're spawning in, do you know where I mean? You with me? There's the ramp that goes up to commando rifle, and there's a kind of tower that it attaches to, and there should be a slope here, because there were like several times I was in combat and I went to hit that ramp and just hit the side of the ramp because it was a dead straight edge. It wasn't. You couldn't. You couldn't just curve onto it. Put a bit of terrain there. Put a bit of cement. I don't care, but make that tiny little flow up just a little bit easier. Because there's nothing worse than snagging on geometry you don't want to be there. Like it's just my personal opinion. But all of the maps, really solid.
I liked all three.
It's the most fun I've had playing Halo in a long time. And loading Halo 5 up, I'm like, you know,
I found myself genuinely missing the tech preview. Like, I'm looking forward to playing that again. Like, and it's been good seeing all the positive reactions to it. Like, the stupidity aside, like, which is just stock standard these days. Like, people, like a lot of people who I follow on Twitter and who follow me, a lot of my mutuals were like super excited about it and really enjoyed it. And they're people that I never see talk about Halo on Twitter. So it seems like, at least from a multiplayer perspective, they're on to a winner. They've now just got to put it all together with Forge and the campaign.
And
before we go to
have
that, go on, Abe. I was going to say, before we get into any campaign, I wanted to give you the opportunity to, you know, share some truncated thoughts about multiplayer for yourself as well.
Okay. You know, and the toughest part is going to be deciding what to focus on, so that we don't have an extra 2 hours of me just going on about the weekend. First, I do want to touch on the Bazaar. That was the first thing I thought about, was Halo 2, because I replayed the entire collection, I don't know, about 6 months ago, and did the legendary run all the way, you know, through every single Halo, and that New Mombasa area in the remake felt that kind of gave me the same vibes, right?
Yeah.
So it was nice. I did think that the 3 maps were varied, and you know, with Halo 5, I feel like a lot of the maps kind of felt too similar-ish. Like it felt like everything was made with the same materials, I guess. Here it almost felt like they had a different tool. Like, I don't know. It was almost a different engine. It looked like from Bazaar to, you know, Live Fire. So. But the thing that stood out to me the most was, as somebody who's put in over 2,000 hours in Halo 5's arena stuff. Yeah, I know. It's like I think about that. It's like I could have had 2 doctorates by now if I would have gone back to school instead of played Halo. But you know, somebody who's played a lot in that and has a lot of friends that still play it. I still play it with them today. The thing that was most striking after it, and the reason why I focused the article on this, was just how well they really threaded the needle. I felt like somebody was going to come out of this feeling like they really, really lost. Like it, and it's so hard. You hear a lot of times when you try to do compromises or you try to walk that middle line, you know, there's like those sayings that if you try to walk in the middle, you're gonna get hit by cars from both sides, or you're not gonna make it either side happy. And last year I saw a lot of those. Once they shared their first reveal of the campaign, and you saw some sprint, you saw the grapple shot. I saw a lot of videos from the Halo community saying exactly that. They're like, you're trying to walk this line. Nobody's going to be happy with this. This isn't good for the sprint crowd. It's not good for the classics, and you're not going to do it. And, you know, coming after this weekend, the thing that really hit home was they did it. I feel like you're not going to make 100% of everybody. You're not going to make everybody 100% happy. It's impossible, right?
No,
like
correct.
there's just two different camps that want really different things. But I don't think there was a way to bridge that gap any better than they did.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that really needs to be called out, because they did it. They were really smart. Like they took, obviously, like no matter what camp you were in, there's something maybe you don't want. And now we're going to start to see it a little bit, because 343's reached out to the community and said, if there's things you guys don't want or didn't like, let us know. Now you're seeing the two communities fight again. But I do think so that right after put out that article, I saw some other creators go, well, this is what you need to do, 343. This is your last chance. So, like they're coming back. They're going to fight again until our next thing, because everybody wants to get their way and they want to tweak it a little bit. But I really feel like this is the Halo that everybody can play, and everything is there. So if you do want thrusters, we know that if you look in the menus, it's in the menu. If you want the game to play a little bit differently, I don't know. I heard what you were saying there, John, about the aiming. Yeah. If you go into the menus, they give you a lot of options.
Yeah.
I get rid of.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of the dead zones.
I know.
Get rid of the acceleration, just get rid of. So you can tweak all that to mirror your play style a little bit better. You can make it so you don't auto clamber. If you're somebody who really dislikes clamber and you want to do crouch jumps, you can do that. Really, you can disable the auto clamber, and most of the jumps I feel like you could crouch jump, at least from what I was feeling, if it was through the flow of the map. And they didn't put a lot of just random stuff that you're forced to have to clamber onto, so like they did in Halo 5. So I think they really considered both camps, and I think with a combination of map design, just factoring in some of the balancing with the risk rewards with sprinting, and even with the aiming, like really, one of the things that some of my Halo 5 brethren were saying is that, one of the things they liked about Halo 5 is that they do like the defensive aspect of it. I feel like if you really master the strafing now, because the auto aim isn't as it's the aim assist isn't as egregious as it was in 5 to make up speed, then you can probably still throw people off, with good dodging and crouch dodging and stuff. So without getting all of the technical stuff that's going to probably bore all the non-Halo fans, I just really think 343 needs to be commended for, figuring that out. I just think that was one of the most impossible things you could do. And, while everybody was playing it before we got back into fighting mode, about getting our ways to tweak it this way, get rid of, I'm hearing people now arguing about the radar and stuff. But while people were playing it, I saw both camps were really excited. They were, sharing clips. I saw people that I never thought would have said, hey, you know what, I could deal with this sprint. Like, hey, I think they solved it. I saw that coming from people that you would have never expected, who were just incredibly anti-sprint. And so everything just feels better to me. Like, even though you don't have that boost, it's like you turn corners better. I don't know if you noticed that, Nick. Like
you can, the angle you can, and you just shoot off. Yeah, it's much tighter.
You sprint, you do like the shorter jumps, you do them much faster, you turn corners faster than you did in 5. So there's a lot of there's a lot of little things that add up to just making it feel really much.
So I'm going to ask a question because I've seen it on Twitter and I've seen it in the chat just now, and we'll come to it in a second. But before we do, we've got a couple of super chats I want to make sure we don't forget. Both from Jason.
Hold on. Yeah, the super chat. So while we're talking about Halo, even though it's the second super chat, I'll read it first. So
Okay.
Jason says, boys, speaking of Halo, now's your chance to promote the Needler controller giveaway. What a controller. Yes, take it away.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was cruising Twitter. I saw the wonderful designer artist formerly known as Xbox Pope, now Pope Art. He posted a concept Needler controller. At least I thought it was a concept. But then he's partnered with a controller vinyl wrapping and modding store called Treason. Yep, Treason.
I assume it's meant to be treason. I guess.
Good shout. Good play on words. Yeah. So I reached out to both parties and said, hey, look, we've got a big Halo community as part of XboxEra. Can we do something? I don't want to just buy some controllers off of you and then try and reship them elsewhere. Can we work something out? They were both incredibly recipient to the idea and they loved it.
Receptive.
Yeah, come on, let me get away with these things when I screw up, all right? I'm ad-libbing on the fly.
You're a
here.
Brit, mate. If anyone's supposed to talk English proper, it's you.
Proper.
You've got to speak English good, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, so suffice to say, we initially were going to do one, but we saw such an amazing reaction to this controller. And if you haven't seen it, go check out our Twitter account. It's pinned at the top. If you haven't entered, go and do it. It takes 2 seconds. You just got to follow us on Twitter, follow Pope Art, Treason, and sub to our YouTube, and just drop a comment and tag your fire team with #SuperCombine. The Needler controller looks awesome, and there's now 2. We're going to give away 2 of them. They're worth £150 each. We've organised 2 because we saw such a great reaction. We were like, oh, come on, we're asking people to tag their fire team and we can't give away 2. So 2 people get to win. So 2.
Can I have one?
Well, you can buy one if you want to go and reach out to them. I'm sure they'll sell you one. And we want to do more of this kind of stuff, right? And I'll take the opportunity to plug this. The reason we can do this stuff is because of our community. We're entirely funded by what you guys give us, by our Patreon, by our forums, and by our YouTube channel. So big thank you, because doing stuff like this feels cool because the community get to win something, especially if people can't afford to drop 150 quid or $180 or whatever it is on a controller. So it's really, really nice to do that. So good shout plugging that one first. We'll scroll back up the chat and read the first one.
Well, Jason's other super chat I'll read after we're done with the Halo talk.
Good shout. Okay.
So
well, it's bookmarked.
As much as I liked everything, I did want to say one thing that needs, I'm not going to say overhaul. Overhaul's a strong word. They need to fix the menu. The actual main menu.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
I didn't know how to get to the battle pass, to check the battle pass, and I kept getting lost trying to customize my Spartan, and then it was just, that menu
was definitely wonky.
Serious work. Like, it looks pretty. It's basically the PS5 dashboard of Halo menus. Like, it looks pretty, but like functionally, it's just
I saw a concept
all over the shop.
I saw a concept on Reddit. The one thing that really stuck out to me was when you were trying to customize the color using the new shaders. And rather than have, because you had your Spartan slap bang in the middle of the screen, and then you had this shader box, and then the row of them went along the lengthways of the screen over the top of your Spartan in some instances.
Yeah, it's just so much weird UI stuff there.
Put the Spartan on this side and put the colors on this side, and then we can see both. But yeah, there are a few things.
They got to fix.
I hope that gets some serious attention, because that was probably the worst part of the whole thing, like the actual menu to use it.
I agree. And Mike, and I know Mike just kind of called to that too. He also didn't like the UI, and I think that's something that some people, I think the UI and the menus were probably, but that stuff is peripheral. I feel like that stuff you can always fix. I guess that's why.
Oh yeah, of course. It's just
we didn't. But yeah,
it was probably the one thing that stood out to me as not very good.
Yeah.
yeah.
That and I have to commend Brit for reminding me the ability to mute people in open chat.
Yeah.
That,
oh my god.
That was really, really arduous.
Oh. I had this one guy, man. I think he had like, because it's hot where all of you are.
Yeah.
And he must have had, so if this is his mic while he was playing Halo, he must have had his fan there just the entire match. And I'm like, I was getting so angry. I was just, and I'm looking for the mute all and it just wasn't there. And oh man, that was a killer.
You could go into the main menu pre-game and choose to just not have open chat on.
Yeah, I know. You can go into your own party chat too.
Yeah, but that isn't a solution. Like I'm sure the previous games you could just hold back and then just press X on the ones you wanted to mute, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that comes back.
Also, I loved the firing range.
Yeah, it's great fun.
That's a big deal. Yeah,
loved it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Great. That
was really good.
That'd be probably one of the first things I do is quickly try and get 3 stars on everything so that it's done and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
That was really good.
When the game comes out. Speaking of when the game comes out, this was the other Halo topic that I wanted to touch on. And it's also linked to something else we haven't got in our chat or our planned list of topics, but it is coming up. It is August, and that is Gamescom. So
yes,
we saw the Halo campaign last year. We saw Craig in all of his low res glory. We've seen now in this year. We saw before they did the multiplayer deep dive. We saw a very brief panning shot of the open world, which looked vastly improved in terms of lighting and shading and textures and blah 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 blah. But then it gave us a very nice, almost up to the level of the, Discover Hope and pre-release trailers of that, and it looks great, right? But do we think there's been lots of rumor about we know that multiplayer and campaign are separate. They've said that both are launching this holiday, but rumors have been discussed recently, resurfaced, that one's going to release separately from the other, or delay here, or delay there. Now, I'll throw my cards out on the table. I don't think that's going to happen. I think both pieces will arrive at your table at once, both courses, and you can pick which meal you're going to eat first. But what about you guys? Do you guys, and equally, do you guys think we're going to see a little campaign refresher at Gamescom?
Okay. So, I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they'll separate them. Like, it's just... No. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Do I think they should? Purely from what perspective can I say? I think it's a good idea to split them. I don't think the community will accept it.
I can't raise my eyebrows any higher right now.
I'm getting ready. We finally got the bad Nick tape. So
I'm just saying, why not? Like, it's 2021. Like, why are we tied down? Especially when we're in a climate where everyone goes gaga goo goo for single player games that don't have a multiplayer component that are being charged $70. Why is it a big deal to split the free to play multiplayer from Halo?
Well, hang on. Let me just clarify, in case I'm misunderstanding you. We do know that they will be, to my knowledge, I think it'll be very similar to Crackdown's approach, separate installs. And if you have both, you can launch one from the other. But if you want to go and download the multiplayer on its own, but are you talking about separating like that, or are you talking about multiplayer is going to come out?
I'm talking about releasing them separately. You said release separately.
Sorry, I mean multiplayer is going to come first in November. Campaign, we're going to delay it till a month later, or January, or any of that kind of crazy stuff. That's the line of that I'm going along.
Do you separating them? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think they should. I think they should separate them, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
I don't think
so
they
it is a
will.
bad take. I just wanted to understand.
No,
we just
but
want to
why
make
not, though? Like,
we want to
it's-
confirm this is a bad take.
But it's free to play anyway. Like, it's free to play and going to be downloadable as its own thing. So why does it have to be tied to the campaign?
From my perspective, I think within a multiplayer mode, and as Jason just keeps, he keeps chucking his super chats, and he's kind of touched on this a little bit. You can get campaign spoilers from law against weapons, from tidbits within that multiplayer mode, and there's a lot of that stuff. We saw it as we were going through the menus and reading armor pieces, and they had stories about X, Y, and Z. You don't know what might be hinted at or revealed upon. I fully believe personally that both will land at once.
If that's the only reason, like, in the end, you're ultimately talking about a free-to-play like Fortnite, like COD Warzone, like, so in the long run, it ultimately doesn't matter. Like, I know they're not going to do it because they're going to get the idiots that are going to come out and be like, oh, you're charging us $60 and you don't have the whole game. And it's like, well, you're paying $70 for The Last of Us 2 and you're not getting multiplayer there. Like, I don't know. It comes back to that whole Halo is held to a different unfair standard to everything else. And because I'm old and yet I'm happy to divorce myself from that old way of thinking where, oh no, it has to all be together. Well, no, it doesn't. Not anymore.
It doesn't, but in Halo's case, it also does.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I think they're going to keep it all together.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm predicting that it's going to be separated. I don't think it will be separated. I'm just saying I'd be more than fine with them separating it. Okay. Especially given how good that multiplayer was. Like,
it was good.
Everyone's probably dying to play it again. If it's ready to go in September, why not fill that September hole with Halo's multiplayer?
Hey, I played this game with Rand earlier this week, and we'll play it on the podcast in a second. All right, when will Halo release? We'll get to that. We'll play that game before we head into Patreon and community questions and some rumor mill thing that we've got. So, okay, what about you? Well, I guess Nick, finishing off on your part, Gamescom. Do you think we're going to see a refreshed campaign appearance?
Yeah, why not? It would make sense to.
I agree. I also think we're going to see some Halo campaign at Gamescom.
I don't know if it'd be gameplay. It might just be another trailer again.
I wouldn't mind.
Just so they can dodge the Craig stuff. Because I tried to Craig the last one. I actually tried to do it myself. Like, I sat there, I had it in 4K, and I'm going frame by frame when that jackal got thrown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's see if the jackal looks like ass or if it actually looks pretty good. And so I was like freeze framing it, and jackal held up. Model looked good.
They put it through that ringer already. They already did every single slide.
Right. That's right.
Blown up on the biggest screen on that 4K thing that they do at E3. They blew them all up there and sat around watching them.
Sure.
But
what about you? What do you think?
Yeah,
pass the Craig test.
Yeah, definitely has to pass the Craig test. No, I think that's a terrible idea, Nick. Separate them, and the reason is, I hear what you're saying. Like in terms of substance, does it really change the actual game to separate those two things? I mean, probably not. And I think, going forward, you're going to see that anyways, right? Because this is infinite. You're going to see probably DLC campaign stuff and DLC multiplayer stuff that can come out at whenever it's ready. And they can now start spacing that stuff out. But I think for the launch of it, Halo is held to a different standard. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either. That's that, people are like, Halo's not just, it's not just this game. It's like the nostalgia. It's like the memories. It's the community. It's all that stuff that goes around it.
Yep.
And I think that's what they would be smart to be trying to capture all of that. It's its 20th anniversary ish. It could be. We know it may not be that day, but and right now you're getting some of that. It's been almost 6 years since we've had a full Halo release, and I think coming out of all this, COVID stuff, and and people being locked in. I think a lot of time, like right now, I feel like nostalgia is kind of a thing people are going back to as well. It's like wanting to remember when things were good or normal again, or remember what like back to better times when we didn't have all the nonsense. And so I think that Halo has an opportunity to kind of recapture some of that magic within the community. And we know that there's people that really just want to play the campaign. There's people that just want to play the multiplayer. There's people that want to do both. And I think they're going to try to recreate as much of that old school magic as they can. And they would be idiots not to try, not to at least try to get that whole thing together and try to get people thinking about when they got home with Halo 3, what did you talk to your friends, you're going to do a campaign or you're going to do multiplayer first? I'm going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to jump in a match and I'm going to, like that whole thing. I think they're going to try to just really do it. They're doing a lot of callbacks anyways. You see that with the art style, and they're, again, they're trying to modernize the old game in a lot of different ways, but they're still trying to hold on to a lot of that nostalgia. And I think if you break it up, it kills that, at least at the launch. I think going forward, you can do whatever you want with the DLC, but I think for the launch, Halo is going to be held to a different standard, and it should be. You do want to try to meet those expectations as much as you can.
Yeah,
right?
But, agreed.
But it is being broken up though. Like, if they sit there now and they kind of pander to the old school fans that believe Halo should be all one piece, like on day one, whenever it comes out, you're still going to have a portion of people who can and will just download the free-to-play multiplayer.
Sure.
So whether they do that day one, or whether they do that in September, or whether they do it whenever, what difference does it make?
It makes a difference to the fans of Halo campaign that want to have both up for grabs, dip in and out. It can't come piecemeal. I totally understand what you're saying, and if it was any other game, I would be like, yeah, if they want, I don't mind. But they will not do it with this. Yes, they
should.
Yeah, they should pander to their fan base.
We deserve it, damn it.
Let it go, man.
We've waited this long.
Let it go.
Pander to me.
Games come in pieces now. Like that's the world we live in. Like, they've already taken the huge step of making the multiplayer free to play. Like, go all the way with it. Like, just.
Thankfully, they're not listening.
It seems like it's ready. Everyone loves it. Everyone wants more of it. They want it now. If it's ready to go, just get it out there in September, and then Forge and the campaign can come in November.
No.
Anyway, right. We've all made our positions clear. Now,
there's one more thing, because we're still on Halo, so we may as well
there's two more things. There's two more things.
Oh, is there? Because I actually wanted to cover this last week, and I forgot, and B, it would have started a tangent that probably wasn't appropriate with Tomas on. So, Jason, second super chat so far. There's like another one further up. Jace, I will get to your other one after we're done with the Halo stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I hate to step on six toes and assume control of today's show.
It's fine.
What do we think of the Battle Royale leak? Now, I wanted to talk about this last week because the data miners found a piece of audio where the gentleman that does the
Jeff Steitzer.
Jeff Steitzer.
Battle Royale.
He did a thing that said Battle Royale, and I was like, ha ha ha.
Right. Let's talk about this.
I think, yes. Well, I've always said that I think Battle Royale is going to come to Halo, not at launch. I've always said it will come at some stage down the road, part of the roadmap.
Sure.
I am more firm on that than ever now.
Here's my take. And just to be clear, anyone watching and suddenly thinking that we're going to start talking about any other spoilers, we're not. Rest easy. On this,
no story spoilers.
Yeah, on this particular take, you're absolutely right. It could totally be that. It could also be that, and I don't know, but in Forge, maybe we get far more control, and there's new audio files. Like, because if you think back to Reach, there was a bunch of stuff where you had Jeff Steitzer saying "you suck" and stuff like that they didn't put in the.
I didn't know.
They didn't put it in the game, but it was available. Like the outtakes and stuff were there. So we don't know what we don't know. Now, regardless, the market is obviously very battle royale orientated. People have been screaming about how great Halo, the ODST drop pods coming in, you chum out as a Spartan, take your customized Spartan, an open world Halo ring as your map. It all makes sense. Could that come down the road?
It's coming.
Well, yeah, of course it could. They've talked about a 10-year plan. It would be crazy not to. You launch with your nostalgia feeding, pandering 4v4 Slayers and your BTBs, and then, season 4 rocks around. You go, hey guys, guess what? We've got an open world Halo ring, and here's some battle royale craziness for you. Look at us. And
Pieces are there.
The pieces are there. Of course they are. But we can't take that audio recording on its own as absolute proof. But I would be surprised to not see a battle royale.
I am choosing to take that audio recording as confirmation.
Of course you will.
It makes Halo had the original battle royale, I would argue, with Big Team Battle Blood Gulch. That was like the early foundations of Big Team Battle. Like, they've got the ODSTs that drop in from the sky. Like, it's already there. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, you've got your Pelican comes in, your squad can drop out. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff.
It's already there.
I agree.
It's illogical. It's money on the table, but yeah, they have to pander to to us first, like us Halo fans, right? Get us all together, make sure that we know they've been focusing on the right things. They're not trying to make a card game / Warzone type thing to monetize the hell out of everybody and forget about big team battle maps at launch, like that kind of thing, right? So they're going to really pander to the base, and they should. Like, they got to make sure they solidify the Halo fans, because your energy is going to build off them. If you get it right and they're all happy, they're sharing clips like we saw over the weekend, going back to that, then you can build on that, and then you can kind of do whatever you want, right? Like, they could do battle royale, they could do their own take on something massive. There's so many tools. They got so many tools in their sandbox. I had to throw sandbox once because Jesse hates when I overuse that word. But they have so many tools to work with to make all types of game modes. And I think John made a really good point too, that then you give that to the community, and who knows what the community does, that maybe they just take that and they move that ball forward, because community might come up with some things that we're not even thinking of that will be innovative.
What if Forge is at Gamescom? What if Forge is not campaign? Oh,
because we've heard nothing about it.
We've heard zero about it. It's driving me insane.
Literally nothing.
It better be coming. Like, seriously, it is driving me nuts, and I just want to know. But yeah, maybe that could be a thing.
By the way, Stuffed Sean, when I was talking about the fan thing in the mic earlier, and I said it's hot where you guys are, I wasn't complaining about the heat. I'm Australian. Give me more heat. Like, when I hear people from the UK say that 20 degrees is like shorts and t-shirt weather, I'm usually in a big woolly jacket in 20 degrees. Like, that's cold to me. Like, today in Melbourne, it's like 15. That's
lovely.
Freezing.
Nice spring day.
I love the heat.
Bracing.
40, 45. Like, when I hear about the heat wave going on in the US, I'm like, man, bring that on. I love the heat. I would never complain about the heat, mate. Melbourne heat is something else.
There you go. So, last two
Superchat.
last Halo question. I know Cerys' question is kind of Halo, but we'll finish on that, and then we'll stop talking about Halo. Last Halo question. I played this game with Rand on Discord earlier this week, and he had me scratching my head because, and I think we've touched on this before. Here's the big question, and let's play the game. And chat, you can play along. Let's figure this out together. When is Halo going to release? Right? Let's think about this. The 15th anniversary is coming.
20th.
5 days after Forza Horizon 4? 5? Do you think that they'll risk cannibalizing their first party game?
They should just delay Forza Horizon 5. But anyways, yeah.
Well, why wasn't Forza September?
Okay.
Or October?
So, and then we've got the big September hole. Nothing from Microsoft is announced for September right now. Nothing is coming in September. We've got lots in August, end of August. But then September feels frighteningly close because we're in early August
It's
right
not
now.
happening in September.
So
It's not happening in September.
when is it coming out? Do we think late November? Like let's play. Like what do you think? Look at your calendars. Games traditionally release on a Tuesday, US wise, but for big releases, I've seen global releases happen on a Friday, which is when games usually come out in the UK. What do we
Anniversary.
think? You reckon that the anniversry dead
Anniversary. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're gonna pull a swerve here. They're gonna reschedule Forza. They put it there just to fake us out. I have no information. I'm guessing.
Here's the irony of this.
gotta go with 15.
You two are sitting there with, you can't separate Halo, like it has to all be together. But then you're gonna sit there and tell me that, oh no, it can't be on the anniversary. And hold on, when are you guys going to decide to be modern, and when are you going to decide to be old school? Which can't have a foot in both sides.
We can do whatever we want. I'm an adult.
Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
You aren't my dad.
Yeah, I mean, look, November 9th, we've got Forza Horizon 5. The anniversary is the 15th of November for the original Xbox and Halo CE. So Tuesday the 16th could be a possibility. It just feels really close to your other big first-party title. And then you think, okay, well,
One's
maybe...
a racing game.
I know,
One's a shooter.
but it's still two
And it's all on
giant
Game Pass.
it's still two giant marketing machines having a moment. I'm just thinking from a business aspect, not from I don't care. If it can come out on November 15th, great. I just need to know when I need to book my time off. But my point is, like, we can go back. Is it going to be in October? Oh, you're going to piss off EA with Battlefield 2042 because you're going to cannibalize them and put them under pressure. When is the game coming? If it's coming this year, is it going to be December? That feels too late.
No way.
It's not December.
I think Rand eventually persuaded me that Black Friday weekend would be in November. So a couple of weeks, give Forza some breathing room. Big stock push for Black Friday. That's when he thinks it will drop. Look, he's in the chat right now. November 23rd, mark it down. That's what the man's saying. So.
Well, now he comes in.
And now he's here. He's here for the rumour mill. So
Now
he
he
can quickly
comes
make
in.
some videos on
All
what
this
you're
time,
doing.
and now he comes in.
Anyway, so yeah, we've played the game. So the last Halo question of the night.
We got confirmation. You can book that.
There you go. Keris here.
Randall Insider.
Keris here with a super chat. Apropos Halo. Apropos
Halo.
Yeah. Knowing what you do about Master Chief, do you think he would make phyllo pastry from scratch, or would he just buy it pre-made? I can make it, but I'm not too proud to just buy it pre-made since life is too short. I think the Chief would just buy it, or he'd just take a packet and no one would stop him.
Uber Eats it.
Uber Eats. He'd order it from Morrison's via Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Oh, Keris, never change.
Okay. Also,
Alright.
Mrs. Mechanico did a sticker.
She did.
Superchat sticker.
She
Yep.
did. I think she also
Of a
said, "Give me
lemon.
my husband back again."
A lemon and a lime giving each other a high five.
It's a good flavour combination. Citrusy. Thank you, darling.
Okay, so now that we're done with the Halo talk, Jason has a third super chat which actually came first
Yep.
that I'd like before we go on to anything else. So hopefully Jason's watching. I'd like to respond to this one specifically. Okay. It feels like the current cadence of exclusives and Game Pass releases is the strongest Xbox lineup we've seen in a while. Do you boys believe this pace is sustainable beyond 2021? 100%, Jason. 100%. 100%.
After acquisition season, yes.
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah.
Once the first parties get going,
It's
like
there's no
that'll
stopping
be
this
it.
train.
It'll just be it'll just be ridiculous once it gets going. And you sprinkle in your indies and the odd third party here and there, and
It's
that'll
Yeah,
be it.
I think the thing to kind of remember on that too, it's not just Phil saying something. It's like the top of the their executives are saying that they need to have games coming out every quarter because they need to have. You can't lose that momentum. It can't be start and stop if you want to build a subscription. So once they get going, if they don't have it in the pipeline now, they will after acquisition season, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag acquisition.
Last nugget of Halo talk, DeoGame with a super chat, and we will go back to Geordie's in a second. Remember the Game Awards cut-off date too, 343. Effectively, that might impact them. They might want to get in so they can win Game of the Year. I think that's a fair assessment.
Maybe.
Microsoft would love the swagger that comes with that. They haven't had it in forever. So yeah,
Although it's futile anyway.
Yeah.
Jeff won't allow it. Jeff's not going to allow it.
Is there a sad dad
anything.
storyline? If there's not a sad dad
Maybe.
storyline, forget about it.
sad
Nah, the
sad
camera
boyfriend,
angle's all wrong anyway.
sad boyfriend for
Camera
digital
perspective's all
girlfriend, maybe angle.
But see, look at that. If you separate the multiplayer, then Halo releases as single player only. So all of a sudden it's got a chance to win Game of the Year.
He's right, folks. This
See?
is the solution.
There
But
you
yeah.
go.
Anyway, okay. So next super chat from Geordie before we get into something fun. Geordie, who, if you don't know him, he's one of our newest joiners at XboxEra as a staff writer. He's been pumping out reviews like nobody's business, as has our whole team. Like, everybody's going crazy the last couple of months. It's been mad. He also runs and has branded it with XboxEra, the XboxEra
Be quiet.
Yeah, that was acquisition season.
That was our acquisition season.
XboxEra.official, I think. Now I'm second guessing myself. On Instagram with a crazy 90,000 followers. So you can find our news and articles there. So if you're an Insta-centered person in your life and you want to see lots of different posts from other creators and images and controllers and cool stuff and video game things, go check that out and give him a follow. He's asked,
Dodgeball Academia review popped on there yet?
I don't know if it's on Instagram yet, but Dodgeball Academia looks interesting, but it's a tangent. Geordie's asked, as a huge Time Splitters fan, interested to hear our thoughts on Free Radical reforming to push out a revival of the series.
Yeah, great news.
Fantastic. Like, Time Splitters 2, like, was such a cool game back in the day.
Right.
The whole news of it being secretly deployed in, was it Homefront Revolution?
Yes, Homefront Revolution.
The
I
whole
bought
game.
Time Splitters 2 for a free copy of Homefront Revolution.
Smart move. Like, what a cool Easter egg from a developer right there.
Yeah, it's great.
And the fact that they're going to try and bring that back, I'm curious as to what place it will find outside of, the nostalgia we've mentioned a couple of times on today's show. When you stand it up next to your big AAA shooters like Halo and like Call of Duty, I'm curious where it's going to land. Is it going to be silly? Because it always had that kind of silly tone. Is that where it's going to land? It's going to be like the Fall Guys of first-person shooters? I don't know, but I'm intrigued
I hope so.
to see that team do it and do it well.
Well,
That's
that's
enough
another
serious stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too. Like, going back to what we were talking about earlier with like all the tools, a lot of those games that were AAA 15, 20 years ago are basically you no longer need the top end budgets to recreate those, right? So you can get a smaller team and you can have fun with something like that. You can try to fill a niche. Like, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be something that competes with Halo and Call of Duty and Battlefield. It can be its own little thing. So I hopefully it's a sign of other things to come. It feels like a lot of those games now, maybe we'll get into that later, but a lot of those types of games from that generation now could be recreated with small teams.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. For sure. All right. We're all caught up. Let's take a deep breath.
Yep.
And we're at the point in the show where I normally get to thank our patrons, but this week I get to press a different button on my dashboard.
Yeah. Let me get my DM out so I make sure I'm saying
it's
the
all
right
right.
thing. Okay, good.
Because I get to do this. Cool. I love doing that, man. It makes me so much. Makes me happy.
Okay.
Anyway, Nick, I believe you
been
have
a while,
Rumour.
hasn't it?
It's been a while.
It's actually been a while.
Do you always chair dance?
I always chair dance. I can't help it. That funky beach gets me going every time.
This one's not anything massive, but it's been a while, so I thought I'll take anything I could get. There's a big one next week, but I can't. Next week's, I'm not allowed to say next week's this week. I asked and I'm not allowed. So I have to.
Because someone's going to leak it before you do.
Well, I said that. I'm like, come on. Is this like Ghost of Ikishima where someone's probably going to tease something or say something before I get a chance to? And they're like, nah, no one's going to say anything. I'm like, all right, I'm going to hold you to that. But anyway, So this week's one. Where are we here? Hold on. Well, I just had it and now I've lost it. I'm sorry. I know what it is and I can say it, but I've got a thing about making sure I say things from the DM correctly. So this one's not massive, but it's something. So, for fans of Prince of Persia, which I am one, I like Prince of Persia. Now I don't know if it's either still very early, so I'm not sure what stage it's at. It's one of those situations where it could still be cancelled, I guess, or reworked, whatever. So I've got to pick my words because I don't want people saying, oh, it's happening and it's coming out next week or blah, blah, blah. But there is and or was a new 2D Prince of Persia being made at Ubisoft. No, that's what I said. I know to a lot of people that might not be a big deal. I love the 2D Prince of Persias.
So let me understand it for the benefit of myself and our audience. This isn't a remaster of the original. This is a new.
I don't know.
Because I was going to say the original's been touched up and released.
It was. Yes, on Xbox Live Arcade. There was a remake of the original Prince of Persia on Xbox Live Arcade. Did that come out on PS3 as well? I assume it did, but I don't know. They did, this DM doesn't say there's a remake of the 2D Prince of Persia. It says there's a 2D Prince of Persia being made.
Interesting.
But again, it's I think it's quite early, at the point where it may not even still go ahead.
Because I
need to say that because I don't want it to be like it's confirmed, it's 100%. Again, this is the rumor mill. This isn't the announcement mill. So this is early, but I've just got told that there was a 2D Prince of Persia in the works.
See, that's interesting when I think about, because obviously we've got the Sands of Time remake where it had some leaked images or footage and it did not look good. And I have very fond memories of that game on the original Xbox. It was really, really good Prince of Persia title. But a 2D, I'm curious as to what world, is it revisiting the past? Is it a brand new 2D adventure where they go all out and they make something as beautiful as Ori, but they have the controls?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's an official sequel to the old 2D one. Who knows? I don't know. The DM doesn't go into any detail, and I need to make that clear. Everything is Discord DMs, and whatever they say in those DMs is what I say. This they even they messaged me. What date is it today? They even messaged me the other day saying, as long as you remember, it's in the early phase and could even be cancelled before it's announced.
Wow.
This thing is early. It may not even end up going ahead. It's just, yeah.
Interesting.
I wish I could explain more or say more, but yeah, there is or was a 2D Prince of Persia being made. But it's early, so hopefully it still goes ahead and it still happens because I love Prince of Persia and I love the 2D Prince of Persias. But yeah.
Yeah, and Erexic in the chat very much thinking along my lines, a Prince of Persia Metroidvania style, which is exactly the kind of game that I'm, from a modern perspective, thinking of. I'm
that'd be great.
Yeah, all right, I'm in for this.
Well, the original Prince of Persia was a Metroidvania.
Yeah, to a degree.
If you think of, I remember that game quite vividly.
There
were locked doors. Yeah, there were locked doors that you couldn't get to, and you had to open them up somewhere else. And it kind of was the earliest, or one of the earliest Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
I'd love a 2D Prince of Persia that's a Metroidvania. I think that'd be amazing.
Interesting stuff.
But again, I don't want it to be one of these things where it's it's happening and it's coming out, whatever. This is early. So, and like John said, they're still working on the
Sands of Time.
Sands of Time remake, which isn't going the best. So
yeah,
maybe they get in the way of each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you'd think a 2D Prince of Persia wouldn't need the biggest team in the world?
No, it might be a passion project that someone's pitched internally and said, hey, look, we own the IP. I think there's a market for a really, really well done Metroidvania. This IP fits. Let me make it. Maybe someone's gone and done that. It makes sense to me from from a business and giving Prince of Persia fans a little something. But yeah, intriguing. Have to keep an eye on that one.
I like I said, I hope it does happen. I hope it doesn't get cancelled. I hope it goes all the way through, because I feel like 2.5D, because I assume it would be 2.5D.
Yeah,
everything's 2.5D now. Is sort of having another comeback with Ori and a few of the others. I like those 2.5D games. They're fun.
Yeah,
they're a good palate cleanser from the constant first person or third person over the shoulder.
Good palate cleanser from Assassin's Creed. Although anything's a good palate cleanser from Assassin's.
Yeah,
from that these days.
Yeah, far out.
For sure.
But yeah, so I'd love to be able to mention next week's. I wonder if I should drop a clue of some sort for next week's. But
well, I'm going to risk something here. I'm not going to say. I'm just going to ask you. We spoke about a little something just before we went live. Are you sure you don't want to drop a clue on that one?
No.
Are you sure?
No way.
Because you could.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because I'm just saying.
No. That's not happening.
Okay.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
I
tried.
Yeah.
I tried for you, audience.
I know. So I could have got some FaceTime when they replayed this clip on on Twitter.
And here's the funny thing: like, I even got the okay for that, to say something about that. But when I got given the script, I didn't like it.
Wow.
I didn't see. There you go. I'm not
the
just some
talent
clout
doesn't
chaser.
want to do it.
If I was a clout chaser, I'd just say it all. When I saw the script of what I was allowed to say about this, I didn't like the position it would put me in. When I read that out, I didn't like it. I envisioned a lot of questions coming my way. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to say anything.
It's right. I'll do it. I'll take all the flack.
No.
It's fine.
No.
I can do it for you.
As to next week's, I'm trying to think about next week's, if I should just cough who's involved. No, I won't do it, because then, again, I'll get all the questions.
You will get lots and lots, especially that,
I will get so many
particular
questions.
one is going to be fun.
I'm so it's going to be part of next week's Rumour Mill. You're not on next week.
I'm
hosting next week, and then I've got to do the Rumour Mill, and I'm just like envisioning the fallout of that Rumour Mill.
Yeah,
man,
it's going to be a fun one next week, and I'm not even there to witness it. And that's a quick heads up for everybody watching. I'm on holiday. I'm unplugged. Nick doesn't like to ever miss an episode, and I commend him for it. He has an impeccable record of always having a podcast every Saturday. I am going to take some time out with my family. I'm really looking forward to it as well. So, Jason in the super chat, fellas, give us your quick thoughts on the Activision Blizzard situation. You can get our much longer thoughts if you go and check out episode 67 with Boom.
Yeah, I think so.
From a couple of weeks back.
We talked about it, Jace.
It was talked about in detail, but nutshell, absolutely horrific. What's been coming out of Activision and Blizzard. My hearts go out to all of the victims, and they can honestly, I don't want to swear this episode, but they can go do that. Yeah, it's not cool. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that. I know we went into it quite depth.
Yeah, we did.
Last
we talked
episode.
about it a fair bit. I mean,
but definitely go check it out. I think
it's a bit of a cluster.
Yeah, Boom did a great job as well of making his statements and thoughts clear as well. And I know that he also did a follow-up of his own show on that subject.
I was on that.
That I think you were a part of OBM. So
yeah.
we're kind of like, it's not a pleasant subject, and arguably we're here to cheer everybody up and entertain you guys. So we don't want to dwell too much on it, but definitely go check out those two shows, Boomstick XL on YouTube, and he was on our podcast episode 67.
67.
Cool.
Bobby's response was interesting. Hasn't he already lost the sexual harassment claim once before?
I don't
in
know.
like 2007? I don't know.
To all of those horrible people that
Yeah.
Just get to do all
Anyway.
that kind of horrible stuff. Anyway, on a lighter note, couple of interesting things before I say big thank you to all of our patrons. Number one is our forums ticked over the 2,000 registered user mark.
Oh, wow.
2,000 people on our forums. We'd love more. So if you're not a member of the XboxEra forums and you want to come and chit chat games with an absolutely awesome bunch of people, mostly, come and visit xboxera.com/forum. We are there, and you will have a nice time. Hopefully, there's lots of cool tech in there. And the other thing I want to mention is obviously we're 2 years old, so it's all coming together. We've done the controller shout out. I think that's probably everything I had on my list. So the last shout out that I'd like to do is to our wonderful patrons. So if you don't know, if this is your first time watching XboxEra, we have a Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/XboxEra, and we have a variety of tiers that you can register to and do all sorts of things. But a big thank you to our tier 2s and 3s. You guys are absolutely legendary and keep us being able to do so many amazing things for the community at large. So big thank you to Crowit56, Blast the Bass, Nodorius, Notjack, Sowing Shade, Scarecrow121, Torn Raptor, Crazy Spaz, VK Andrew, Brit, Cerys, Duke Chaos, Nottian, Gabquist, Hexa, J Repper, K, Kiroi Senko, Cartoon Soldier, Red Sun, Shadowgasm, Somnia, and Running Riot. You guys are lovely. Love you lots. And on that note, it's now time for community questions. So as patrons, any patron gets to ask us a question every podcast episode. Some of them are silly, some of them are serious, and we'll find out what we've got in store right now. Nick.
And as well as questions, patrons also get a copy of Omega Rally Championship.
That's
which
true.
is a creators collection game made by our friend NRXic. Really cool little game. I've mentioned it many, many times. And with that was fake. Remember that Interplay Twitter account?
Yes, and everyone got really excited for a second.
Oh my god! I remember reading a post from that Twitter account, and it was like, we're bringing back this, and rock and roll racing, and and Fallout, and I'm like, and I got excited for like 2 seconds. I'm like, oh my god, rock and roll racing! I'm like, wait, doesn't Activision Blizzard own rock and roll racing? And wait, Microsoft owns Fallout? I'm like, and then I'm like, hoodwinked. Oh man, it's fake. Because I would have wanted NRXic to make, like, I'd love a remake of rock and roll racing using NRXic's driving model from Omega Rally Championship. Even though, I mean, the original game was on Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, but with that driving model, I reckon would work super well because it's all done on the stick, which frees up the buttons for like 100 other things. It'd be so good.
Yep.
Or you could just make it super simplistic too to make it more accessible. But yeah, I think that would be really good. Anyway. The first question, actually, it's not even a question, it's just a comment, and it's actually from NRXX. It's not a question, but a comment. Nice. Because it's episode 69.
I've tried to resist doing the Bill and Ted thing for like all episodes.
No, that's South Park, isn't it? Isn't that South Park?
No.
The nice thing? No, 69 is Bill and Ted, where they go, 69, dude. But the nice thing, I think that's from South Park.
Yeah.
Maybe the chat can let us know. I think that's from South Park.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Okay. First question. Beast Mode 10. Easy peasy Halo questions for Nick, John, it says here Figments, and maybe OBM. It is OBM. These are not real questions, but more like quiz questions to understand whether you will play like a Halo player or an average Battlefield/COD player in Halo. Quick backstory to the quiz questions. I had a hard time watching Andy of Kinda Funny only jogging, sprinting around the map, and then be just okay with the bots, and then be mauled by the PvP players. He did not use jumps or any momentum-based movement, and it was like watching someone drive the Bugatti in first gear. Back to the quiz questions. If you know the answers, elaborate on how you would do the technique. You can decide whether the technique is right or wrong amongst yourselves. Number 1. How would you do the drop, slide, jump?
Good God. Man, I don't know the names for these things. If you want to judge, you sprint, you drop into a slide, and then as I just about to end the slide, I can spring up and you get a bit of extra momentum. I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think I was doing stuff like that on that outdoor map.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'd go up to that top corner bit where you'd either have the BR or the commando. I'd grab it, run down to around the corner where the brute grenades are, the sticky spike grenades. So I'd sprint down, jump, and then as I'm landing, hold down B to slide down. And
maybe that's it. I have to admit, I don't know the names of the moves, but you can go judge my gameplay. I did some ultra widescreen gameplay. You go tell me if I'm doing any of them.
The next one I don't know, but then after sliding, jump up. Number 2, how would you do the curb slide jump? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I'm trying to picture if he's talking about. Go on, IBM. Do you have any ideas on the names of these?
So, in the I'll keep saying that, in the over 2,000 hours I played it, we never talked about the names of them. I only use slide in one particular way. So I am a very habitual. I have a style when I play with people. I usually grab the precision weapons and I sit behind them. But when I do feel sassy and I decide I'm going to use my slide, it's usually to come around corners, and it's like usually the slide, jump, boost the other way kind of thing. So, so I don't do. I know. I think I know what he's talking about because I see people do that stuff, but I usually don't do those types of moves. So I'm sorry to let Beast Mode 10 down. Being a representative from you had me at Halo.
I'm feeling,
but I don't. All I do when I use slide, it's usually to come around the corner. It's like either spinning, you slide and you spin at the same time to if somebody's shooting you from behind, or it's like when you're about to come out of when you're about to come out into the open, you kind of slide and you jump and that way you make yourself less of a target while you can survey your things.
I'm feeling a little bit like how do you play Halo? How do you play Halo, motherfucker? You tell me how you do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm feeling a little bit open and vulnerable right now. I've been playing Halo for a long time. I've never learned the names for this stuff. How do we traverse the breadth of the open area quickly, like the Bazaar Center? So typically, if I wanted to get across as fast as possible to the other side, it would be sprint, slide to the edge of the highest point, jump off, land on center, sprint again, jump, and then hopefully crouch, jump, and land if there's enough. I can't remember.
I do a lot of clambering.
Yeah, I try to avoid clambering where I can. So.
Nah, I do a lot of clambering. But I play SWAT as well. So there's always going to be a little bit of COD style play to me with Halo because I play SWAT almost exclusively.
Yeah.
Like in Halo 5, it's literally all I play now is just SWAT. Yeah. I mean, it makes me happy that someone so high up in 343 is a SWAT player.
Yeah, Frankie.
It's good. Like, it bodes well for the future of SWAT.
I'm sure he's made sure it's there.
But I'm shocked that it's not a bigger playlist, like a bigger mode in the Halo. It's the best Halo. SWAT is the best Halo.
Baby's first Halo.
No, it's not. It takes the most skill. It takes the most skill.
It doesn't.
No,
it does.
It doesn't. No,
No.
it doesn't. You don't have to
nail that headshot.
But that's all you do.
I can hit a headshot
only...
9 times out of 10 all the time. It's just they've got shields, so I've got to think about getting their shields down first and strafing and all the other things.
Yeah,
you know why you all love non-SWAT so much? Because when you play against people like
Halo?
me that are so ridiculously good, old Halo with shields allows the lag to interfere and gives you a better chance against me. The beauty of SWAT is that it takes away that advantage. And all of a sudden, the true skill comes out and the lag can't save you from me.
It's a one-dimensional version. You're not even playing Halo when you're playing SWAT. You're playing. No. You might as well be playing something else at that point.
You're playing the best Halo.
You're missing the entire sandbox at that point.
No. See, the lag can't save you from me in SWAT. Like, you're just gonna get demolished by me in SWAT. That's why you all don't play it.
It's because real Halo players. It's because real Halo players play Halo.
So much
they don't play
better
SWAT.
now.
Seriously, there are so many people that right now, I think Nintendo to go. I've got a little 1v1 at some point in Halo I've got to do with him so I can teach that young whippersnapper how to play. It's interesting. Like, we all remember the first time you played Halo 1 for ages and ages, Halo 2 came out, you jumped online and got your ass kicked. And you're like, oh, I'm no longer the best Halo player in the world. I thought I was great. And then, yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen to me. But I've got enough experience with the game to mostly hold my own most of the time, hopefully. But it'll be interesting.
I'm confident that I will be an unstoppable force.
Do you think you would beat me and OBM in a 1v1? Like, if we were to play separate 1v1s, you think you'd be the winner?
He would not. If
well, you're going to have an advantage on me with me playing on like 150
already
ping.
rolling out the excuses.
Well, hold on. I'm going to be on 150 ping, aren't I?
Not if you're. Yeah. I'll come and play on your server. Right, you host the game.
We got to be able to find aren't
they on my server? You're dead.
Aren't they given like network?
I was born into the darkness. Like I was born into the 150, 200 ping darkness. I was molded by it.
You really adopted the dark.
That's right. I've adopted it. Like when I play like, they challenged me in Rocket League, and I played on US West, where they all had better ping than me. And I made fools of all of them. Like
mate.
Yeah.
100% true or not?
I can't wait. I can't wait.
No, I'm telling you.
I can see Jason's egging you on right now.
If you play me in SWAT, you're not going to have a good time.
Well, it's not Halo. So, I mean...
I'm confident I could take Nick in SWAT as well. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident. He's older. His reflexes are aging now.
Mate, I played the PvP, and I was quite good at the PvP.
Well, we'll see.
Even with all the lag.
We'll see.
With all the lag.
But yeah,
so good at Halo.
I feel like Beast Mode's got one last. What's the first weapon we'd go after when you spawn for the first time?
Commando.
Yeah, Commando or BR if available.
Or BR.
If not, it would be an auto switch to the pistol.
Yeah.
I would normally say BR, but this BR is not very good compared to the Halo 5 BR.
That is another bad take. How many are we going to have?
Come on. They brought back the Halo 2 BR, which was the worst BR.
It's just a skin.
BR is...
Functionally, the gun is the same.
I hated the Halo 2. No, it's not. No, it's not. Halo 5 BR is different to the Halo 2 BR.
It's because it gives you. It's because it gives you all that magnetism. You just can't. You can't aim without the magnetism. Is what you're saying.
That's console gaming, isn't it? That's the whole point. I don't have a mouse and keyboard.
I think how it was tuned to everything else, the BR was actually really good. It's going to be more. I think it might be more effective actually.
I prefer the Halo 4 and 5 BRs. They're great. Our friend, and especially your friend, BRAP.
BRAP. That's.
I say BRAP. I know, Basement Radio. Okay, but it's just I feel better saying BRAP as opposed to BRAP. BRAP is the noise people make when they fart. BRAP. So I say BRAP as opposed to BRAP. Now, he says, I was an original Xbox Live beta tester. That's it. That's the super chat.
No, you missed
he was an original Xbox Live beta tester. Weren't you as well, John?
I was an original Xbox Live beta tester. I got the kit with Whacked and the voice changing mod. Fond memories of lots of people with high-pitched annoying voices. And then you play Halo and the same high-pitched annoying voices there, except there's someone's real voice. It's a hell of a world we're living in.
Yeah, by the way, I should elaborate on that too. So Enrique from BRAP is a buddy of mine. We actually met off of Xbox Live back when it first launched. So he was a beta tester. He lets everybody know that I was day one. My OneBadMutha gamer tag was day one And we met on Halo, but he's since grown apart from Halo. That's why he put that little troll in there. And Warzone is greater than Halo. That's absolutely wrong. It's another bad opinion to go along with Nick's bad opinion.
Oh yeah, that's the other super chatty.
Yeah.
Warzone is greater than Halo.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. but yeah, we were back. That's the thing. It goes back to what I said before, though. It's funny. Like, I got friends that I met from Halo that go all the way back almost 20 years now. So it's one of those games. It's like I've met these people, like him, and we have some other friends too. We met on either Halo or Unreal Championship, things like that, and knew them when we were all single guys, and now we got kids, and he's got chickens and 4 kids and everything else. It's just kind of funny how life goes and how that game kind of, brought a lot of people together.
Yeah. And Xbox Live in general, I feel, did that. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Because we had
trying to remember who my oldest friend is on my friends list. God, I can't even think.
I'm very lucky in that when Halo 2 came out and the lag was so terrible and standbying was so terrible, we had a group on Bungie.net that was called, I think there was 2 groups. There was Halo 2 UK and the Wall Walkers, which was a reference to how people started walking into walls when they'd stand by their router to try and get an advantage in the ranked games. And
what did you just say? When they stand by their what?
Router.
Router?
Router.
Do you mean router?
No, I mean a router, you Neanderthals.
No, even I say router.
Yeah, well, sometimes just little
Because
America
router
creeps in.
In Australian and UK, router also means something else.
It doesn't mean
Or at
anything
least
in
in
UK.
Australia it does.
In the UK, it doesn't.
in
It means the thing that looks a bit like your PS5 but gives you internet.
No, I know, but like, I'm sure the UK also has the word root. Yeah.
Well, there's
like,
the roots of a plant. There's a root to get somewhere.
There's the root that you can take, and there's also another one.
No.
Wow,
not
that's only Australian.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, then don't worry about it.
No wuckers.
Then don't worry about it. I'm not going to go into it.
Good.
Google it.
I won't.
I'm not saying it.
But yeah, it's we all got together on Bungie.net, and then eventually after 2 years of playing games with these guys, I did hey, shall I have a LAN at my house in real life? And the Sick Fest LAN parties were born, and I've now been friends with that group of people for how long has it been since Halo 4? We're talking 17 years, whatever that is, whatever the math of it is.
Wait, what? Halo 4?
2?
Sorry, Halo 2. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
it's late.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking,
No, Halo 2.
Halo
So
4. I'm like, it wasn't that long ago.
we've been through marriages, divorces, deaths, births, life changes, and it's an incredible group of friends, and that's the other reason I'm not on the podcast on the 27th of August, on the 28th of August, and that's because we're having a barbecue. And I haven't seen a lot of my friends for a very long time. It's been 2 years, all lockdown and everything, and we're gonna chill out and meet up again.
That's not a good reason to skip.
It's a very good reason. It's a very good reason, having real life friends.
And there's another super chat from BRAP. I'm not going to say BRAP. I agree with Nick. SWAT is amazing on Halo. Requires precision and quick reflexes, all of which OBM doesn't have. See, that's exactly, and that is why I would demolish them both.
I'll take both of you on. Anyways, we're going to do that live.
Do you know what? Let's do it. Let's find a time zone, and we will stream a live SWAT match on Nick's server. Me versus OBM versus Nick.
I can't pick the server, can I?
If you host the game, I imagine it will go to your server. Yeah.
I don't know. I know in Rocket League I can do a private match on Australian servers.
We'll figure it out.
But I don't know if that's a thing in Halo.
That would be
I hope so.
That'd be so much fun to stream. Let's make that happen.
I hope so. I mean, look, the guys in the Discord wanted to do that with Rocket League. They were like, Nick talks all this game about Rocket League, but I bet you we can take him. And that did not happen. I absolutely destroyed them all. So much so that Klob was willing to stay up till 4 a.m. to make sure he could beat me at least once. And that's all he got. One win.
Wow. When you come at the
Mainly
king.
because I had like 2 guys on my shoulders carrying them through the match as well. My shoulders and my back were a little bit sore by the end of it.
Oh my God. We got to beat him down. He needs to.
I do not talk the talk unless I can walk the walk.
Do you know what, Nick?
I know
needs some
when
humbling.
I'm willing to stay up later tonight after this podcast, and we will jump straight into a match. I am willing to do it.
Of what?
Halo 5 SWAT.
Oh, Halo 5
Come
SWAT. Okay. I'd have to adjust again.
Oh, come on. I haven't played Halo 5 in like forever. I forge and that's it.
I don't play Halo 5 that often either. I'm always on Rocket League.
Let's see what happens. Look what you've done, Beast Mode. I hope you're happy. Anyway. Oh, and last thing from Beast Mode, a little PS there. Gotta get it in there.
Hold on, where is it? You need to have OBM on your regular show too. More older Saner heads, please. Cheers.
Older. Older. That's the first word he thought about when he thought of it. Older.
Yeah, but they all tell me off for having bad takes, and I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work.
True. All right.
Okay. So you know what time it is?
It's time. It's a Cerys question.
Okay.
Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
I wish you'd just give me like a week off with the short one. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hopefully I'm watching tonight from the new corner of my touched-up home office, which, as I write this, is still an absolute tip. This home office has seen precious little touching up for months, and then I don't know where that GIF's from, but there's a GIF in there. I don't know what show that's from. I'm sure I'll get told off.
GIF.
Anyway, GIF. Anyway, I have no idea what has happened in the last fortnight of games, so please don't expect my trademark brevity or finger on the pulse of gaming news. What I really wanted to talk about is a dinner party, like a big one. A garden party, maybe. Peppa Pig's grandparents were having one, and the poor swine had to put up with Peppa bossily taking over and turning it into a circus. God, that is one authoritarian pig. Yeah, Peppa can be a bit annoying. Luckily, my kids watch Bluey most of the time. How good's Bluey?
I love a bit of Bluey.
Seriously.
Bluey, the dad in Bluey is a bit of a legend, I've got to admit.
Yeah, isn't he?
Bit of a legend.
He's a gun. So good.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. It's a legitimately good cartoon, Bluey. Like, adults can watch it too. It's legitimately good.
Yeah.
Very Australian. It's funny. Okay. Let's say you organise the perfect, and I mean the perfect garden party, the kind George Michael would have been happy to attend. George Michael's the greatest artist ever. But no, there is a problem, either with the catering, the entertainment, or the structures. I would like you, the panel, to pick someone, something, some when, some why from games to assist you in your moment of need. Which person would be an excellent catering replacement, for example? I'll pick an easy one so you all have to think. But a stage filled with rock band gear could easily replace the band which has failed to arrive. Though Mass Effect's dance floor always seemed packed, so that band could lend a hand. Okay, so a joke to end on. I went to the zoo the other day. The only animal there was a dog. It was a Shih Tzu. Cerys. I've heard another spin on that joke. That's good. I like it. It was a Shih Tzu.
Yeah. Who would I pick from gaming to help me out planning the perfect
or
garden
what
party?
like it could even be a thing, like not necessarily a person. So there's a problem with the garden party, and then something from gaming helps bridge the gap or fill the void or sort something out or whatever.
Wow, that's a interesting question that I could rush an answer for, which I'm going to have to do in the interest of time. I would have. I mean, I could cheat here, right? Oh, the catering's gone wrong. I'll pick a Star Trek video game and then steal the replicator from it, and then boom, perfect garden party with whatever the hell we want. Although I recently learned that the way replicators work is it's actually all of the recycled like urine and fecal matter that's turned into food. So maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I was thinking I could get the chef from Little Nightmares 1 to do the catering for me if we had a problem. Might be a bit weird. Don't know what the food would be like, but hey, at least we're eating. That's about all I've got.
At least we're eating.
What about you, OPM?
Oh, so when she says any person, I was thinking from gaming. I would have to go with Tim Schafer only because he knows Jack Black, and if you have Rock Band there, then you need to have Jack Black, right? So I think that'd be a good party.
Jack Black, one Saxon boom, and you're good. You're good.
You have a good party, yeah.
Jack Black, I would love to hang out with Jack Black for a day. I think he would be a fucking riot. Jack Black has a YouTube channel. Maybe we get him on the podcast.
Maybe.
I'm up for it. Challenge accepted.
Okay. I think Cerys will like mine. So, usually big parties have like a planner, a party planner, an organizer, yeah? Like big parties. So, let's say your party planner catches COVID and they can't organize the party anymore. I would get Andrew Ryan from BioShock to be the replacement party planner because hold on, don't make that face. So for anyone who's played BioShock, you will know that Andrew Ryan is a very persuasive person. And he's very good at getting people to do things and getting stuff done, maybe even against their will, with 3 simple words. Would you kindly? So he would say to people, would you kindly go and put that setting over there? Would you kindly go and blah, 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 blah? And he would organize the whole party in the absence of your party planner.
That's a pretty well thought out answer.
It is. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Clearly, you've read the questions before the night, and that's fine.
No, I promise you I haven't. I swear to you I haven't.
Yeah, okay.
But because you answered first, I had the time to think about it, and I Googled the name of Ryan from BioShock because I couldn't remember his first name. So I was on Wikipedia looking it up because I forgot his name.
Fair enough. I'll give you that one. It's a good answer. It's a good answer.
That is a great answer. Come on, Cerys, tell me. That was good.
I'm sure
on,
she'll
Cerys.
pipe up.
Where are you?
She'll pipe up.
Yeah, see? She likes it.
She wanted somebody to say Viva Pinata somewhere in there.
Just
I think we all failed her.
the animals.
Yeah.
Would you kindly go and put some more water out on the tables? See?
I don't know. Clever. Now I've got the image of beating to death hundreds of adorable pinata to eat their food because the catering went wrong. Kind of dumb.
And Ryan would get you to beat them.
Yeah.
He'd convince you, just like he got you to beat him in the game. And you get the golf club?
Yeah, beat that horstachio to death. Okay. I will.
Would you kindly go and collect everyone's plates?
Yeah.
Would you kindly pack up, please?
Yeah. Would you
clever.
kindly move on to the next question?
Okay. Now, DeoGame. All right. Nice, he starts with. Seems to be a common theme.
Indeed.
Anyhow, Xbox has a pretty promising looking second half of the year, and things are changing, which leads me to this question. We all know in the grand scheme of things, Game of the Year is mostly just a marketing flourish. But it does feel good for the devs and the fans. This leads to my question. Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Psychonauts 2, Death's Door, 12 minutes. How do you feel on the Game of the Year chances for these in mainstream outlets? Everything from Keeley's Awards to IGN, etc. It is likely the Xbox fan sites are the ones with fairly pro Xbox views It is likely the Xbox fan sites and ones with fairly pro Xbox views like GamesBeat, WCCF, Windows Central, etc. will reward these. But I'm curious if this is the year Xbox breaks down further barriers to quote-unquote mainstream acclaim, especially with this year looking pretty sleepy for Sony and Nintendo. I have made my feelings known about this.
Yeah, you're pretty...
Jeff won't be giving an Xbox exclusive Game of the Year. Other outlets might. Jeff will not be doing
I
that.
don't see any other game being in the... Far Cry 6? Battlefield 2042, maybe, but then it's multiplayer only. And
It's multiplayer only.
Halo's in with a real good chance this year, which is why they'll both release at the same time.
I think it's going to be...
Awards, not...
I think it'd be the year of the indie because every so often it is an indie, right? I think it's been a while, so it just feels like
the darlings are Xbox exclusives.
But, yeah.
Artful Escape, Death's Door, The Ascent.
Do you know what? Go on.
I'm curious how 12. I'm curious how 12 minutes is going to do.
minutes.
I think if 12 minutes hits it out of the park, because it's a good year to recognize the indie. I feel like I don't see them ever giving a Halo or Forza. Usually, if you're like the 6 installments, unless you're reimagining your game, I don't think it really has that shot. So it's probably going to go to indie. Just being if I'm being objective in terms of how. In terms of how they've applied it before.
Well, if I think of indies that I've currently played right now, Death's Door is got to be in for the running this year. Like, what a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah.
12 minutes. I'm doing the review for this one as soon as we get code. And obviously, that's imminent. I'm very much looking forward to it. I love time travel mechanics in games, and I'm intrigued as to what they're going to bring to the table. I have questions around replayability and longevity with a game like that, that is so, I don't know, focused in its scope. But I asked the question, really. I do think Halo Infinite stands a chance this year if it reinvents itself enough to make people sit up and take notice of Halo again. But I want to see Forza Horizon 5 get a chance here. Like, racing games are just overlooked, and yet Forza Horizon is regularly in the 90s from a Metacritic perspective. The games are universally loved and critically acclaimed, and yet a racing game can't give that a Game of the Year award. I'd love to see, if Halo doesn't win it, I honestly would love to see that trend change and recognise that games are games and they don't have to tick cinematic boxes in order to be someone's Game of the Year. Just my opinion.
That Jeff's going to give it to Ratchet.
Oh, come on.
I am the biggest Ratchet fan. That's the irony of it. I am probably the biggest Ratchet fan going around, bigger than most of the Sony fans would be. And I put Rift Apart third in my Ratchet list. I think Tools of Destruction is the best Ratchet, with the 2016 remake as the second best one, and then Rift Apart's probably third. That game, as a franchise, Ratchet has never even been
in the running,
close in the running for Game of the Year, and it's never even been a big seller, which has continued. The latest one, despite the push it got, has sold 1.5 million, 1.1 million or something like that. Now, 10 million PS5s, everyone's been starving for their exclusives, and it sold like 1 million or so. But Ratchet's never been a big seller. That the franchise just never has been.
Yeah.
But you watch it suddenly get in the Game of the Year conversation, even though the other 15 Ratchets never have been. But watch this one get mentioned.
Well, obviously, Returnal. Returnal was going to win then from the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, Returnal as well.
Huge game.
When they can get it working.
Okay. Well, yeah. So it was going to be an interesting year, though.
An Xbox game's not winning Jeffs.
Yeah, it's not.
Xbox game's not winning Jeffs. It might win IGNs. It might win other outlets. Ain't winning.
Well,
Jeffs.
press outlets vote.
Even in a year where Sony's only put out 2 games, Jeffs and Nintendo's put out what? There's Skyward Sword. There was 2 remakes in 3D World, Skyward Sword. I think they're doing Pokemon. In terms of new stuff, is there anything? There's not going to be Breath of the Wild 2.
Not this year.
So even Nintendo... Oh, Metroid Dread. Okay, Metroid Dread. But again, Metroid, that's another one of those franchises. Oh, it's funny. So there's Ratchet on the Sony side that I adore, but never been a huge franchise, never sold a lot. And then Nintendo's got Metroid, which is the other franchise I adore on Nintendo side. Again, never gets much attention, never gets big sales. But Sony and Nintendo don't have anything else this year. So all of a sudden, those franchises are going to get more attention.
It's going to be an interesting year to watch it all unfold, I have to admit.
I'd love nothing more than for Jeff to prove me wrong. I'd love nothing more than for Jeff to make me look like an idiot. But let's be real. That's not going to happen.
Your Halo opinions already did that for you. Don't worry.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, man.
Okay.
It's going to be a fun year.
All right. DirtyFlint Hello, panel. The Olympics are on, and it sparked a debate in my house. What's the proper way to count the overall winner of the Olympics? Is it the overall medal count or purely the most golds? I think officially it's most golds, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Officially?
Officially.
Which kind of makes sense in a way. And I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I thought otherwise, because I keep talking about how the PlayStation trophy system is broken because the platinums aren't worth enough. Like, they are the gold medal. Like, they should be worth a lot more. So I get it. I'm spewing the UK just overtook Australia. We were 4th and you were 5th for like ages, and you just overtook us just now. Just barely by a hair.
Yeah, but, you know...
We've done really well this year.
Yeah.
Australia's done really well.
It's...
People forget we're only like 25 million people. I think people forget that.
You've got a very big country to hold so few, yeah.
Yeah, our country's massive, but like in terms of the population itself, it's very tiny. Like, there are cities in the world that have populations bigger than Australia. Like,
yeah.
So I think we do quite well for ourselves.
Yeah, it's been a good season, right? I think it should be the total number of medals, but I think the official way is gold. But yeah, I think if a country's got like 2 golds and no silvers or something, and then another country's got 1 gold and like 20 silvers, they shouldn't be below the country with less medals, I suppose.
I agree with John on that. Maybe you could do like a weighted scale, like you give points.
Yeah, like 10 points for a gold,
Like
5 for a silver.
Like the PlayStation trophy system. Just give more weight to the golds, though.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, there you go. That's the opinion of the panel.
Yeah,
I think we've got another Olympics themed question.
Good old Collingwood. I should sing that one day, the Collingwood anthem, or play it maybe from my phone, something. Okay. Hello, Sikamikanico, special. He says special ed. Like, he must have been following me for a long time for him to still be saying Ed. It's Nick now. And OneBadMutha. As you well know, the 2020 Olympics ends today. In 2024, the Olympics will be held in Paris. And in a first, one of the new sports will be esports. Oh, really? Are they doing esports in the next Olympics? Oh, wow, that's cool. That. I am so going to try and get into Australia's Rocket League team. Oh, man, I so want to be in Australia's Rocket League team. Bring home the gold.
Nick's got a new dream. He's quitting XboxEra. He's practicing for
man, I so want to be in
2024 Olympic
team.
Oh my God.
Good. However, unlike other esports tournaments, the Olympic esport tournament will be modelled on the modern pentathlon. The modern pentathlon consists of 5 disciplines: fencing, swimming, equestrian, shooting, and running. However, the Olympic etathlon will consist of 5 gaming disciplines: fighting, sport, racing, shooting, and a wild card. You are the committee that will decide what games will be played in the modern etathlon. I love this question. What games will be played? They can be from any console and from any generation. What do you select? Oh my God. Okay, fighting. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution is the fighting, because anyone who knows fighting games knows that Virtua Fighter 4 Evo is as close to a fighting sim as there is in the industry. So there are no other answers for that. If you want to go for the flashy e-sporty fighting game, then Killer Instinct, obviously, because that's the best fighting game to watch. But as it's the Olympics and it should be more sim-like, then Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. I will not be accepting answers from John or Abe on this one, because any other answer would be wrong. Okay. So Virtua Fighter 4 Evo is the fighting game. What's the sport game? Rocket League. Has to be Rocket League. It can't be anything else but Rocket League. Come on. Like, seriously. What else could you possibly have?
It's not a sport.
Yes, it is. It's literally an esport. It is an electronic sport that is only played in video games. Like, you couldn't have a more perfect fit for the Olympics than Rocket League. There's no point having FIFA. Like,
no, it'd be boring.
Like, we already have soccer in the Olympics. Like, why would you do FIFA? This should be unique to video gaming, but also watchable, because you've got to think of the people watching. Rocket League.
Okay, look, I'm not going to disagree with you on Killer. I know you've chosen Virtua Fighter 4, right? I'm not going to disagree
Yes.
with you. I don't know enough about fighting games. I agree the mention of Killer Instinct from a showmanship point of view.
Yes, showmanship for sure.
And do you know what? Rocket League is a great sport game, right?
It is.
I'm not going to... I'd rather watch Rocket League than FIFA at the Olympics, if I'm being honest.
Exactly. Yes.
Racing. I mean...
Now, do you go the sim? Like, it should be a circuit racer, shouldn't it? You can't have Forza Horizon.
No. Yeah.
This is where you bring back Project Gotham Racing.
Yeah.
Any
But
excuse to
remember,
bring back
any
Project
generation,
Gotham.
though. Remember, it doesn't have to be new. Remember, it's any
okay.
generation. So the question
PGR
says
then.
it can even be an old game.
PGR then.
Sorry? So, yeah, I guess you could choose PGR. Or, again, if you go the showmanship angle, if you want to go the showmanship, do you go split second?
For the explosions.
Or all the explosions and everything. Come on. Like, people look at... Because, again, you've got to remember... Like, if you're just showing people something that kind of looks real, then it's like... Where's the video game touch on it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's just going to be a sim, and I know I just mentioned Virtua Fighter 4 as a sim, but in the end, there's no fighting like that in the Olympics anyway.
No.
But, yeah, and that's why I said Killer Instinct as the alternative to being the flashy, very fun to watch option. Yeah, it'd be between Virtua Fighter and Killer Instinct. But in racing, if you've got split second and, like, people are driving and there's explosions and buildings are coming down and then there's a plane that flies overhead and crashes, that would be very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, PGR, but then you're sort of entering that sim street racing territory, you know?
Micro Machines. Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
You know,
Micro
like, come on, have
Machines.
some fun with this.
Rock and roll racing.
Rock and roll racing, why not?
Rock and roll racing.
Get some real old school stuff in there. Shooting, I think we could probably argue about that for the next million years. So can we just say...
Just go Halo.
Halo, be fine with
Halo
it?
SWAT. SWAT Halo.
That's SWAT.
You're killing
Stop
me,
it.
bro.
SWAT Halo.
You're killing me.
Shooting has to be SWAT Halo. Or Valorant. I reckon Valorant's pretty cool to watch. I don't play it.
Yeah, I've not played it. But I've got a suggestion for the wild card for running.
Go.
Mirror's Edge time trials.
Oh, Mirror's Edge. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a really
you're feeling
good
that?
one.
You're feeling that one?
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
like that. Mirror's Edge. Like, just do the trial runs. Yeah.
Yeah, who gets best
That
time?
would actually be a really good one. And someone in the chat brought up a good one for shooting because, again, it's the Olympics. House of the Dead.
Oh yeah, VR, like, or not VR.
Yeah, light gun game.
Oh, but now I'm thinking Beat Saber as a watch. Anyway, we could go on for ages. We could this could
Beat Saber as the sport.
Yeah, like it's physical activity, and it's really awesome to watch someone do amazing at it. You put all the virtual reality stuff in, you know, you could be going for hours.
Wild card, Dance Central.
Yeah,
Got the music to get people into it, watching people doing the dancing. I reckon that'd be a good one too.
DDR, you know, proper DDR would be more entertaining because that's genuine crazy amounts of skill compared to the wishy-washy Kinect sensor picking up some stuff. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
But there you go. There you go. Good question.
I like that question.
That was a solid
really
question.
Good.
That was good fun.
I like that. Okay. Somnia. So, I saw the thread on these forums and wanted to ask what yours would be. I was hoping this would happen. If you could reboot one game from the OG Xbox, what would it be and why would it be Knights of the Old Republic or Mech Assault for multiplayer?
He's right on Mech Assault. He is right. But
don't people always ask for Crimson Skies?
Yeah, they do.
Isn't that what people always ask for? I keep hearing people ask for Crimson Skies.
Yeah, there's often a lot of mention.
I don't know if I'd reboot Crimson Skies. I'm not a big Crimson Skies guy, but I know everyone keeps asking for it.
Yeah, they do.
What would I reboot from OG Xbox?
It's Mech Assault for me, and I answered this earlier in our forum thread. A Togi from Software. There was Otogi and Otogi 2. They were really unique, beautiful looking games. I'm sure if I played them now, I'd be like, this doesn't look as beautiful as my brain told me it did 20 years ago. But man, they were really, really pretty. But yeah, I don't really need to see Knights of the Old Republic again. Like I've played it. If a remake came out, I probably wouldn't be that fussed. Like I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, woo. I'd be like, okay, cool. I've played it loads. Like just it with a prettier skin on the top wouldn't particularly enthuse me. You know, just saying. If it was a new story set in that, with that gameplay style, might get my attention. But
I still want to see Project Gotham Racing. I'm going to keep saying that game until it's probably never going to happen. So my next one would be Mech Assault as well. I think that's just the one that makes the most sense, right? Like that just it was
so much.
Could you imagine all the customization they'd put in there, and then you could do like destructible cities, cloud powered, destruction online, actually making that Crackdown dream come to fruition.
Yeah, it would be like just take the world of MechWarrior, and that universe and that IP and that lore, and then copy what Chromehounds did, but do it better, and put it on Game Pass for me to play all the freaking time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It probably makes so much money, just make it free to play, and people be dressing up their mechs forever.
That's the angle we need. Think about the money you would make, Phil. So much money. So much money.
It's just sitting on the table.
It's just there for the taking, Phil. Just make Mech Assault happen again.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Mine, I'm giving
Crimson
two
Skies
because
is good too, though.
I don't know the exact rules, so I'm going to pick one that was an Xbox exclusive and one that was a third-party game. The Xbox exclusive that I think they should bring back, even though it's not a first-party game, is Death Row, which was published by Ubisoft, speaking of sports. That's that Death Sport, throw the disc around in the arena game that they made on Xbox called Death Row. The third-party game, NBA Street Volume 4, please.
He wants
another
it back.
sport.
He wants it back.
NBA Street Volume 2 was just, man. And because I got rid of my OG Xbox and I didn't want to lose NBA Street, I went and bought it on GameCube so I could still have it.
Wow.
I love NBA Street. Okay.
Good question.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that our question? Okay. All right, good. Doncabesa. How is Nick so handsome? How is Abe so handsome? What happened to John?
I've had a hard life. I've seen things you wouldn't believe. And my feelings are so hurt right now.
A good skincare routine. I drink lots of water. But it's mostly the genes.
Guys, you had to just... Man, he needs to be humbled. We just got to whip his ass.
Seriously, if I'll poke my head out. If Amber's fallen asleep, man, I am gonna boot up Halo 5 and give you a damned good thrashing. It's like that John Cleese sketch in Fawlty Towers where his car breaks down. He says, "Right, that's it. I've warned you. I'm going to give you a damn good thrashing." And he walks off screen and the camera stays on the car and he comes back with a branch with like some leaves and he's just hitting his car. Oh, classic. Anyway, yeah. Okay. There you go. Thanks, Don.
Yeah. Okay, so last few questions. Proven. When do you expect to see actual Redfall gameplay? Based on Arcane's history, QuakeCon seems like a good bet. And with the game scheduled to release in less than a year, we'll need to see more of that game sooner rather than later. I wasn't initially thrilled with what the game was after its E3 trailer, but after hearing more about it and reading good breakdowns like OBM's article, it's easily one of my most anticipated Xbox Game Studios games. Isn't their MO show a CG trailer and then like the next year show gameplay and then release it?
Well,
I think
isn't that their MO?
Yeah, I think they did that with Prey. Sorry, John, you were saying
No, it's yes, it is their MO, but I was going to suggest it's due out summer 2022, right? Whether that's pre-E3 or August or whatever next year.
That could get delayed.
I don't know. I think if the potential for a delay was there, they wouldn't have announced that date 2 months ago. I would personally say QuakeCon is a really good bet. And failing that, Microsoft do like to, even if they don't win Game Awards, they do like to show up and show stuff at Game Awards, and you might see something.
As in this
there.
QuakeCon? The one coming up in a couple of weeks? No.
Well, if you go back to Prey, so Prey 2017 is made by the same team. They did the CG at E3. I think they revealed the gameplay at the QuakeCon, and then that game released in the summer of the next year. So it was, I think it was almost, if they do QuakeCon and they actually release it in the summer, it's going to be the exact same cadence they did with Prey. So
I hope
so hopefully
there you
it's
go.
possible.
I reckon that game would be good.
I'm very hopeful. You know, they're ticking a lot of people's boxes by making it a shooter, right? Giving multiplayer, and then giving you, actually, it's still within our wheelhouse of, you know,
and 4-player
immersive
co-op.
sim. Yeah.
Which
I'm
is good.
Very intrigued.
Okay.
Last two.
Phalaxis. First of all, and then he's got a picture from Jerry Maguire here. You had me at Rumour Mill. A question for the panel. Do you ever feel overwhelmed with options when it comes to Game Pass? Yes. I feel like I'll eventually miss a gem of a game because I'm busy playing other games. July was a great month. August is shaping up to be another awesome month, and this is just going to continue. They might need to pause for a month so I can catch up on all the amazing games. There is a discussion to be had there, isn't there? Like, when is it too much?
Well, it depends on what type of gamer you are, right? I am very particular about what I play. The beauty, I think, of Game Pass is I can pick up a game I like the look of and decide very quickly and guilt-free whether I want to see it through or just say, I don't care enough about this game. And putting it frankly, if I go out and buy a game and I spend 60, 70 quid or whatever it is, you know, back in the day when that was what I used to do, and then found I didn't like it, I could trade it in, but there was this kind of like, oh God, it's not really for me. I've wasted all that money, and then I'd always do it again and then regret it, and why am I spending the money, blah blah blah. Whereas now, like, there are games within Game Pass I recognise are good games, but if they don't 100% set my world on fire and I can't put it down, you know, and I've had moments like that this year. Little Nightmares 2, you know, Death's Door, where it's like, okay, its claws are in and I've got to see this through. Those are the games I will see through. But if I've played something like, I picked up Omno and I really like it, but when I've sat down and toyed about what I'm going to play, I've always loaded up the Ascent first. Now I've completed the Ascent, I might get to tackle Omno, but then in my head I'm like, 12 minutes. You know, if I don't get to it in time, I'm not going to worry that I didn't get to see it through and see all the story. I can go back to it. It's probably going to be there for a while. You know, most games stay on for 3 months at a minimum, but most are 6. That's the usual standard. I'm not worried. And I think that's the approach. We need to change our mentality about how we approach them.
About completing it, right? Because it always feels like, when you it's almost like, you know, when you're trained as a kid to finish every bite on your plate and things like that, and then, you know, as you get older, you learn that, hey, you know what, if I'm full, all it's going to do is give me man boobs. So yeah. Moves. So you know, you don't have to finish every bite. It's actually probably good to stop when you're full, and it is like a different mentality. Like, you can play something, feel like you're getting your fill, and then go, well, I don't like it, especially if it's not a story-based game.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, you know, hey, I got what I wanted. I'm getting to the point now where, you know, like, it's kind of more of the same, and there's other stuff out there, and just kind of move on. So yeah, you don't feel like you lose out by just letting go. And I think sometimes you just, especially if you like a lot of different games, and you still need to take a shower and to take care of the kids. Yeah. You know, you just need to be able to, like, walk away, and because it's no more like it back in the old days when I would hype up, you know, Brute Force as like the next AAA game, and then tell everybody in the forums this is the game that's going to be the killer app of the year, and play it for 1 hour or 2 hours, and realize it was going to have to go back.
Yeah. It's just different approach.
yeah, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So you just say, had enough.
It's funny. I just saw Mark Lanau in the chat goes, I wish this was on all day. Dude, we've been going for over 2.5 hours. Like, we've been going for a while already.
Yeah, and to be honest, like if we switch to Friends, we could probably go on for a while. There's so many things we could talk about.
Discussion point on this topic, though.
Not on Friends.
Do you think that's why Microsoft went with the is it? I'm trying to think of the word. Oh my God, my brain is just frozen on me. The remuneration plan that they went with, where they pay up front. Yeah. So because they want Game Pass to basically be the gaming version of Netflix, and if you think about Netflix has so much stuff, right, to try and cater to as many people as possible. And you just sit there and you flick through and you see the preview and you go, oh, this looks pretty good. You try it out. So I think, is that why Microsoft went with that remuneration? Because if you pay up front, because I feel like if they did it as a per download thing, so many games are just going to get nothing for this very reason, because a lot of games will just be overlooked. So if you strictly do it via downloads only, you're going to piss a lot of devs off.
Yeah.
Where if you negotiate an upfront cost, an upfront payment, everyone's happy, because there's a negotiation. The developer has received what they feel they are hopefully happy with. Microsoft gets the game on the service. Doesn't really matter to anyone if it gets downloaded or not, because the wider view is we just want as much on there. What?
So I just saw Faisal super chat. I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's a lovely question, but also,
oh yeah, we'll tackle that. Don't worry. So because they want the Netflix style, just have so much on there to cater to as many people as possible. That's why they went with the upfront payment model, as opposed to per download.
Yeah, I don't think you want you're going to need to have some gas games in there, or some games that have long engagement, because those are going to still be your water cooler games that people will bring people to the service. But it really, like, when you look at like Netflix, their strategy, they spend a bunch of money on content that's only going to fit a really small niche. Yeah. But then the thing is, they're the only ones that hit that niche, and then that consumer stays on their service forever and ever and ever. And so that's why they're going to do that. That's why with the Take-Two, by the way, like, we didn't cover that today, but like when you hear like the guy from Take-Two is like, well, this will never, our games would never work in a subscription, or you hear, Sean Layden say our games won't work in a subscription. It's because
500 million subscribers.
It's because they want a different kind of consumer. They want, for them to make more money, or their investors to make more money, they need to do what they've always done, but do more of it and they want, like, their one game to occupy all the mind share and all the sales. Whereas this is just more about, hey, we want to bring you on the subscription, and then you're just going to keep paying it forever and ever and ever. We don't care what gets you in there or what you're engaged with, right? So it's a different philosophy. Yeah. It's going to retrain customers too, I think, over time, to be like, oh, I don't need to only play one or two games. Maybe I will try everything else on the buffet, over time.
Yeah. Like, how good would it have been if Microsoft had nabbed .emu or .mu, and then all of a sudden Game Pass becomes the home of those retro revivals? You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
So all of a sudden it's all exclusive to Game Pass, TMNT, Streets of Rage 4, whatever other deals they could get, blah blah. And Game Pass becomes the home of those retro revivals. That would have been so good.
Oh no! This is the worst timeline.
Okay, last question, and then on to those two super chats. Okay. Brit, do you foresee any slow news time for Xbox/gaming the rest of this year, where there's no podcast episode for the week?
Nah,
Brit, we're not skipping an episode. I flat out refuse to ever skip episodes. So even if the news week was so slow that we didn't have any topics to talk about, we could just bring one up. Like, there's so much stuff that I would love to bring up and talk about. I'm sure we'd think of something.
Yeah, I mean, look at
Worst
how
case
this
scenario,
podcast has gone.
Yeah. Worst
Just
case
talk
scenario,
about Friends.
we talk about Friends. Worst case scenario, we talk about Friends.
And I won't be
We
on
do a
that.
Friends episode of the podcast, or movies, and
Yeah.
we bring it back to games. Like we would work something out.
Yeah, don't
We would
you
work
worry.
something out.
We'll never miss an episode. You know, we'll
But
always
for the
be
rest
on
of
there.
2021, I don't think there'll be a week that's slow.
This is probably the slowest time of the year, and I would even say like Microsoft and Sony or any gaming companies, you're probably going to hold back this time of year because everybody's out trying to maximize the rest of the summer before we're all going to get locked down on the next round of stupidity from people.
Yeah.
So this is the slowest time you probably will ever have, and this is
And
hopefully the most friends we'll ever have to have on the show.
And we're still in the middle of acquisition season, and we've got still games coming. No, I don't think there'll be too many slow weeks.
It'll be good.
So that's the last community question. But we have 2 super chats. Okay. I'm gonna pronounce the name horribly wrong.
I want to say Faisal.
Faisal. I was gonna say Faisal. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. Each friend's character's favorite Xbox game.
Jesus Christ!
All right.
You guys.
Now they have actually.
I saw Monica's.
It's funny. Video games have made appearances in Friends. Not Xbox, unfortunately. PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64 have both made appearances, and it was almost always racing games.
Yeah.
So Joey and Chandler are going to be fairly easy. So, we'll say that Joey, I'm going to say Joey would be the PlayStation fan. So Joey's favorite game will be Crash Team Racing. Chandler comes across as more the Nintendo fan. So he'll be F-Zero.
Phoebe, Stray.
Phoebe, Stray, yes, 100%. Rachel.
Brit in the chat, their game, Joey and Chandler, would easily be Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball.
Beach volleyball. Oh, yeah, that's true. Dead or Alive beach volleyball. It just wasn't a thing back then yet. That's the only reason I don't bring up more modern games, because I'm thinking back to the PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64 that appeared in the episodes. But if we can go modern as well, then yes, 100% Dead or Alive beach volleyball. Monica's is easy. Monica is Power Washer Simulator. Like, easily Monica's. Or the cooking, or like Overcooked.
Yeah.
Or
Overcooked would be Monica for sure. She'd
Yeah,
not
but
only enjoy it, but she'd be enjoy screaming orders at you like it can happen.
No, yeah.
That's a good
It
shout.
would probably be Overcooked. But I also feel like she'd love Power Washer Simulator as well, because she gets to clean the entire house, the car, the whole lot.
Rachel Kim Kardashian game, the mobile game.
Yeah,
You
there's
do all the
those,
fashion.
And there's a few of those fashion games on 3DS as well, on DS. So yeah, that would probably be Rachel's. Phoebe, we said straight. Ross. Now, it has to be like Lost World, the light gun shooter, or Jurassic
Evolution, the RTS.
Jurassic World Evolution, where you make your own dinosaur park. That's obviously Ross's.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to think. There's no games about sandwiches. No. They'd be like, my sandwich.
No, it's got to be the dinosaur theme for Ross, like for sure.
Yeah, it would probably be Jurassic World Evolution.
Chandler, in his professional role as a transponster,
yes.
he could be. He might enjoy Stanley Parable, like that whole office. Stuck in an office.
I haven't played it.
When it comes to Xbox, because it is coming, you have to play that game. It is phenomenal.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess Ross's game is Jurassic World Evolution.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somnia, another super chat. Nick is Joey, Sick is Chandler, and OBM is Ross. I reckon I'd be Chandler.
No, mate. Sorry, Chandler's the best, the wittiest, smartest character. That's me in this scenario, I'm afraid, bro.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's kind of the case.
Because I'm the one
Somnia's
being
right.
a smartass and making. I'm the one being a smartass and making jokes and making fun of other people.
Do your jokes land? Chandler's got
Chandler.
the good jokes. Like that's when
No,
I
I've got
pipe up.
great
It's
jokes. I've got great jokes. You come across more as.
I'm definitely not a Joey,
don't
mate.
know.
Come on, and I'm definitely not a Ross.
No, not Joey. Not Joey. I think you are early Ross. Seasons 1 through 5, Ross. You're not seasons 6 through 10, Ross. You're probably
Ross is
seasons
such
1
a
through
nerd.
5, Ross.
No,
Isn't he a nerd?
I
He
used,
did
to,
get to-
I used to be in a
he's a
rock
J-
band, man. Like, come on, I'm not Ross's
So was
band
Ross.
with the music.
So
He wasn't
was
in a
Ross.
rock band.
So was Ross.
Okay,
See,
I was
you
a smoker.
Are seasons 1 through 5,
I was a
Ross.
smoker. Chandler. Yeah.
Okay, because that's a defining characteristic of a character. No, Chandler is a smartass that makes fun of people and cracks jokes. I am Chandler.
I'm sorry. I'm Somnia's super chat. We can't disagree with it. We've just got to read it out as what it is. It wasn't a question. It's a statement.
Yeah, whatever.
Um,
Okay, Rand. I was waiting for this to come along. Rand super chat. So, what is the state, date, and end? Oh, he was meant to say start date. What is the start date and end date of the acquisition season? Usually a season is 3 months or so. That's right. Usually a season is 3 months or so. But think about hunting season. How long does hunting season go for? Hunting season goes for a while.
is it rabbit season or duck season?
Rabbit season, duck season. Seasons do go for a while. All I ever said was that this is the time of year that a lot of acquisitions happen. Was I wrong? No, I was not. Since I said acquisition season, we've had Sony acquire Sony acquire Housemark, Nix's, Embracer has acquired like 73 studios in that time. Focus acquired .emu. Like, it has literally been acquisition season. So I was not wrong. I never said Microsoft Xbox acquisition season. This is like the Gearbox thing. So I tweeted back in January, got a funny feeling Gearbox is going to be acquired. And everyone's like, oh, wow, Microsoft's acquiring Gearbox. I never said Microsoft. I just said, wouldn't it be funny if Gearbox got acquired and 3 days later they were. I didn't say it was Xbox acquisition season. I just said it's acquisition season. I told you I choose my words carefully. Stop getting smart, Rand. Please. Stop trying
Very
to give
hostile.
me shit about something
Very
I
hostile.
never said. Everyone's like, but what about Xbox? I don't know. Like, I know they are looking. I know they are doing deals. I know they are talking to people. I'm not the one doing these deals. So I don't know what's going to fall through. I don't know what's going to get done. I don't, Nick never said Microsoft, but debuted this information on an Xbox podcast. Well, I wasn't on a PlayStation one. And I wasn't on like a general one. I was on Colt's podcast. And
Well, no,
it came
Gearbox
up,
was just
so-
debuted on Twitter, but
Well, Gearbox was Twitter, but I'm saying acquisition season was on Colt's podcast. Oh, I mean, it is what it is. What do you want me to say? It's like how people get upset that I bring up like Sony and Nintendo rumors on this Xbox podcast. It's the same thing. I don't care about platforms. I'll just say whatever. Next week's rumor, probably not related to Xbox. Just the heads up.
Teaser there.
Just the heads up while we're on the topic of mentioning what platform where. Next week's rumor mill, probably not Xbox.
Rand, you even had poor Colt make a whole meme for it. Hey, that was a great episode of Colt's podcast, because
Yeah, it was. It was good.
it had us on it.
Okay, there's another super chat. Prof Triple J, what topic would keep you talking for another 15 minutes?
Don't tell them.
Friends.
No, please.
No, we're done. We're done with Friends.
It wouldn't keep OBM.
Never
You've got to be
done with
inclusive
friends.
with your topics, bro. You've got to be inclusive with your
Never
topics.
done with friends.
I could talk about a lot of things. I could talk about music, movies, games.
Different recipes for shrimp. I can't believe the shrimp thing came back.
Well,
Just when I thought that crap was gone,
Nick,
and then Shinobi posted some, which had nothing to do with me because I doubt Shinobi is even aware of my existence. But like he posted some shrimp food photos, and all of a sudden, man, I'm getting all these tags on Twitter. And I'm like, oh, what's this about? And then I see shrimp again. I'm like,
can we?
Oh my god!
Can we cut the crap? Right? Why don't you just
tell us
tell
what
everyone?
the
Yeah,
shrimp
just
is?
tell us.
Why don't you just tell us what the shrimp is? Jez already said what the stupid shrimp is. It's literally nothing.
Jez was just trying to give you some respite, you know.
Jez was drunk and overtired, and he just found the shrimp hilarious and started bringing up the shrimp.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So we've clocked in at almost 3 hours.
IBM's like...
I did not expect.
No, this has been a lot of fun. The only issue I had is I did drink more coffee than I should have before.
Are you sitting there doing the little jiggle? The little jiggle in the chair.
Oh, man. I thought this was going to be a really short episode.
I did too. The Halo chat went on for a good 45 minutes. So, but hey, you know, that's one of the reasons we love doing what we do. Our community, you guys are freaking awesome. And we love hanging out with you guys, and it makes the time go by rather quickly. 2 people didn't like this podcast. Thank you, Rand. Were you one of them?
That was what's his name? What's that troll's name that gives us money?
Was it the PlayStation slave or something?
Yeah.
Sony,
I can't even remember. There's those two. There's 1 or 2 guys that they didn't do it today, but they usually give us money. They usually give us money to troll Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know. Man. There's some strange people out there. But look, yeah, it has been a longer show than we probably have thought it would have been, considering there was a lot of news. But it has been very, very fun.
See, Brit, even if there's no news, we can still have a show. Trust me.
And the thing is, we can do silly things, especially when it gets towards Christmas and it's really quiet. Who's putting thumbs down? Come on.
I know. Just 2 more thumbs down.
Stop pointing out, Rand. You're giving people an impulse.
It is Rand. It's Rand. It's Jez. It's and they're getting their people to do it. Jerks.
Do you know what? I'm going to tease something. This is and I'm not going to say too specific, but I'm going to tease something cool. After Gamescom. Hopefully very shortly after Gamescom, we're going to have a very, very special guest.
Oh, is that person coming on right after Gamescom?
That's the timing that is currently being discussed and has not yet been fully cemented in. But they are a very, very special guest, and we're really looking forward to that.
Is that going to be an
show.
episode that you're skipping?
God, no.
I'm pretty sure that's going to fall on the week you said you're skipping.
No, it will be fine because I'm having the conversation, so I'll give the date. But we might have to do some jiggling around anyway to make it all happen, depending upon...
Those 5 dislikes became 3, so it was Jez and Rand.
Swines. I will cut any of the rumour stuff out. It is not Phil Spencer, but it is someone pretty
not
cool.
Phil. Believe me, it's not Phil.
Yeah, we would just come out and say
Trust
Phil
me.
If we were going to have Phil.
Trust me, I've bothered Phil plenty, to be honest. Yeah. Don't worry about that.
But yeah,
Xbox don't like it when I do that.
we've just ticked in. We're 10 seconds away from 3 hours long. So let's let everybody get on with their evenings, mornings, afternoons. I can go to bed. You can go and get some Maccas. OBM can maybe play some more Death's Door or the Ascent. All got a wonderful plethora of options to go and do. But I think that about wraps it up. So Abe, thank you once again for putting up with our friends' tangents.
It's been awesome. It's been fun.
Anything you want to say? Do you want to take the opportunity to plug this other podcasty thing we have?
Yeah. So you had me at Halo. I'm also the co-host over there. So for all the Halo fans or everybody in the chat that wanted to get more Halo or just wants to listen to Halo without Nick ruining with his opinion. I'm just kidding, Nick. But for the rest of the chat that wants to hear more about more than just SWAT, come and join us on You Had Me at Halo. We go every other week generally, although we will try to line it up with some news too. So keep an eye out for another show to come up here in the next week or so.
Top banana. All right.
Yeah.
And on that note, much love to everybody. Thank you for coming and hang out. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. Podcast will be up on audio formats at some point when I'm drinking coffee tomorrow morning, and if Nick's done the timestamps, because sometimes he does that because he's very kind. And we will see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.
Ciao for now.
Take it easy.